What's happening? Benton here. Thanks for joining me. Truth or Cop is still live. With the size of this audience, I don't think. What's happening? Benton here. Truth or Cop's live. With the size of this audience, I'm not sure that will affect what he's doing over there. Now, we might see slightly less than normal over here, but hey, it's 3 a.m. Sunday night for many folks, Monday morning for myself. Uh, I made it back to the truck stop. I spent the weekend at the big box store, aka Walmart, my personal favorite, because the internet is not good over here. Although in the off hours, I just realized, hey, what's up, Rob Cleveland? Good to see you. Shout out to Sean. Although I realized at 3 a.m. it certainly works. Obviously, the internet works fine where I'm at. It's more of the peak times that become the issue. Indeed. Always good to see Rob Cleveland and Sean around these parts. Sean, an OG. He was here when there was single digits here at the channel. Not sure what I want to get into. Good to see you, Tinsel TQ. Feel free to. I don't. Are you watching both? Are you watching Truth or Cop and this? Like I say, I mainly just had this scheduled. This fits into my schedule this time of the morning, so that's why I'm here. I don't like potentially overlapping with other live streams. Yep. Shout out to Camp Cupcake. I had a restful, relaxing weekend, although we did, I guess, a 10-hour live stream yesterday, right? However long that was. Mr. Cleveland hung out for quite some time. We had Tommy was here for quite some time as well. Hopefully he's getting some rest. Hard to tell with old Tommy. Certainly seems to not run low on energy, which is that's an admirable trait in a person, I would say. And again, not quite sure what I want to get into. I'm realizing more and more that, especially early in the morning, early in my morning, which is late at night for some folks. Oh, goodness. Well, what an honor, Tinsel TQ. I'm not sure this will be worth it, but, certainly it seemed to devolve into a cacophony of intransigence over there. And I do like hearing from Paul, especially on those sort of intellectual topics. That Jeff guy, man, I'm pretty sure that's the guy who said that Hillary Clinton was from Arkansas. He called Hillary Clinton a hick from Arkansas. She's from Chicago. But, grew up. She's from a prominent Chicago family. But whatever, Jeff. And then Mitchell was kind of spurging out in the live chat. Shout out to Mitchell. But sometimes I wonder if that traumatic brain injury that he suffered, if he maybe he's a tad moody as a result. Not that there's anything wrong with moodiness in general. Yeah. What's funny is how these people like Jeff manage to garner so much airtime on some of these live streams, whereas something's wrong with my personality or whatever I'm afflicted with. I find it difficult to get a word in edgewise. And then what I do like about when Telescope, and that was my first time seeing Telescope, and shout out to Carl, who may be along after the Truth or Cop deal ends. Certainly wouldn't expect first loyalties from Mr. Carl, but I think that's his boy, right? Telescope, I believe. So I won't go in on Telescope too hard, but you can see he sort of baited Paul there at the end, kind of riled up Paul's emotions a little bit, and then bounced. It was a clever technique. I see what he did there. Definitely. I'm starting to see more and more. Is Paul just not just? Is Paul a preacher by nature? And the preacher, would be accustomed to being able to speak uninterrupted. I'm not sure that some of these, wading into these other panels with actual intelligent people. I mean, Telescope is obviously a person of, high intelligence. So I'm wondering if that's even a thing that Paul, an older version of Paul, will even be interested in engaging in. I'm certainly have no interest, me personally. Yeah, Carl did very well, as typically he does. Absolutely. What's up, Music Holds a Secret? Good to see you. This is just, I'm all over the place until I get onto a topic. So But I'm realizing more and more that I'm not really going to be able to watch these live streams early in the morning. I'm just too cranky. It yeah, I'm just too cranky, and I start to get a little agitated, and then it's back to the breath work, and I'm having some. It's like it's triggered some of my fucking arthritis or whatever that is in my shoulder. Oh yeah. Oh, I don't hate on Paul for getting his money, as he should. That's what it's all about. Hmm. Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, I'm definitely cranky, bro. Yeah, so that's kind of when I want to take my time and just hang out a little bit. I know later today I won't. And it seems like I just do one stream a day, whether that's 2 hours, 3 hours, or 12 hours. I know in the past I've said, well, I might come back later, but it seems like I never do. So I'm just assuming this will be the only stream of the day. And this is really the only time I'll be able to get this in uninterrupted anyway. So I've got about 3 to 3.5 hours before I need to start moving towards the delivery, which is across the street, the place I'm delivering to. So, and then it's about a 2 hour drive back to where I was the other night at the furniture manufacturer, and then that loading process will take between 2 and 6 hours. Yep, that's right, Tranquil. I'm ornery in the mornings. Yeah, yeah. I got some good sleep, but maybe a little too much rest. It seems like when I really get into like a restful, deep rest, it actually like I think it's good for me in the long run, but in the short term, it's like it brings out the body aches, brings out the pain a little more for whatever reason. I actually haven't watched that whole thing yet because I had to, especially early in the morning, early in my morning, again late at night for a lot of folks. I start going into this paranoia about is this thing going to go viral like in the larger truck driving community or spheres, YouTube, whatever that is, the YouTube sphere, and would I get in trouble? Although that's very unlikely, obviously, but I am prone to I am prone to that sort of thinking. So I'll go back and watch it later. But yeah, I'm sure it's quite amusing. Shout out to Stephen David, who seems to have some skill level with the videos. Unfortunate though to for that event to have occurred. Obviously, yeah. Hmm. See, I make these mental notes, and then later I'm not able to remember what what the mental notes were. That's where I'm at now. And Talcott, amusing as always on Truth or Cop. I love it when whatever his whatever we want to call these ideas that Jack espouses. I love it when he gets down to this. It's a literal GURU like that Mike Myers movie. If anybody remembers that, not that anybody ever saw that. I didn't see it either, but I remember the commercial. Like Guru, GURU. Yeah, that's true. You did see it live. Well, and if I had my laptop, I would show you. But I did pick this up on the way from the Walmart to the truck stop this morning from an Amazon locker. So this, and just in case, because I'm still not sure. I know my laptop's dead for sure, but also my DC power adapter might be dead. So I've got this thing. It's a cheap one though. It's just like 18 bucks on Amazon. Little inverter, so I can at least when I buy my new laptop, I can at least charge it here in the truck. Cause I'm all DC. But yeah, this bad boy. It's got some. It's just a real basic. I think it's like 18 bucks. It does have the USB-C on it though. A lot more chargers are starting to come with the USB-C. That little one. I know it's hard to see, but yeah. But these things don't put out very much unless you wire them into the battery, obviously. But it should be enough to charge yeah, 175 watts max. You're not even going to get that for more than a couple of seconds. Oh, the USB output Type C PD 18 watt. Well, that's not too bad. Get a little bit of fast charging out of that, perhaps. Not enough to charge a laptop, generally speaking. It's supposed to be enough for a Switch, Nintendo Switch, but I read in the reviews that it won't actually charge a Switch. But anyway, This is a great time for technology. 18 bucks. I mean, who cares if it's a piece of garbage? I'll just throw it in the garbage. You know, add it to the landfill. Well, and I like Musical's a Secret because he's up on, in spite of his advanced age, he's up on the technology. I found a really nice pure Synwave one for 50 bucks that had a full 65 watt Type C output that I was going to order, but there was one in stock, and by the time I got around to deciding if I was going to order it, it was out of stock. And then I also needed, I can only choose from items that could be delivered yesterday at the Amazon locker, which limits my choice. So it's not a it's a modified, which I know is less is not as quality, but it's the price is affordable, so I'm able to just try it out, and if it's garbage, I'll get rid of it. But the thing about a pure Synwave is that I would be more inclined to go ahead and spend enough for like a 1500 watt or a 2000 watt, you know, and wire it into the battery and all of that. So, you know, so, but yeah, it's just it's a cheapo. It's just a cheapo piece, but definitely less expensive and probably better than what you can just grab off the shelf at Walmart. So, and those ones that, even those ones they sell at Walmart, I forget what that brand is, but those fans are like super fucking loud. I think this one's probably not too bad. Actually, I'll plug it in and see. Yeah, see, I can't even hear the fan. Those, the ones Walmart sells, the fan is way too loud. Yeah, definitely pure Synwave would be the way to go. Absolutely. But like I say, I'm the type I would just wait. Actually, if you guys were around when Tommy was on here and he showed off his very nice high end, I forget what they call those, but it's basically like a big power bank with it's got an inverter and a lithium ion batteries. He said it was like 1500 bucks. You know, it's like a power station deal, portable power station, but it also, you know, you can charge it with solar panels. Although I would, if I got one, I would mainly charge it from the DC on the truck. Probably I'll just save up and get one of those. I've been eyeballing those for quite some time, and I think Tommy's finally convinced me. But I was looking at the cheaper ones, the heavier ones with the less expensive batteries. But I think Tommy's convinced me to just go ahead and step up. So I will be continuing to work my ass off, I guess. I got all this now. All of a sudden, now that my savings are rebuilt, I have all these things I need to buy: laptops, jurisdictionary course, uh, just my normal course of nutritional supplements, which I'm now behind on because I had to cancel that order. Oh, and that's what I get to do later today when I'm waiting to get loaded. Is I need to call Amazon and get my. It's like they will eventually refund your money from Amazon, but if you call, I found if I call them, they'll actually just do it like right then, as long as enough time has passed. So they owe me somewhere around 400 bucks that I want to get that back before I start buying other stuff. But I think I'm done buying anything. No more big Amazon orders from my debit card. I'm just gonna buy gift cards with cash at the truck stop. So at least then I can get they'll give me the refund right away. Who are we talking about? Oh, Illumitomy. Well, and that's one of the benefits of the internet is it says, you know, it's a virtual form so that we're, you know, he can't really get us in trouble. And that's, you know, and I'm not even talking about Tommy. I'm talking about generally. That's why I won't make plans. I let it be known why I'm not meeting up with you people. Like Kim's talking about starting a compound, which I know some of that is tongue in cheek, but I'm like, well, I'm not meeting up with anybody in person. You know, other than I'm not making any specific plans other than if we did an actual Truth or Natty style, you know, like a DabbleCon style conference, if anybody knows what that was. You know, some sort, almost like a comic, like a very small version, like a Comic Con type of thing. Just a convention. Yeah. Oh, 4,000. Good Lord. Yeah. What I like about Musical's a Secret is he goes big or he goes home. He doesn't, you don't fuck around. I can tell. I tend to buy cheap shit and just use it till it stops working. But there is something to be said for just stepping up to some, you know, proper gear. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stretch it into exactly until I need to be. Thank you for remembering. See, sometimes I say shit and I don't even remember. Like, yeah, absolutely stretch it into the ethno state. Oh, that's what I should have titled the video. I got to start making notes. That's fantastic. Imagine being this in love with your own content. Stretchered
Ethno State.
Yeah. I love it. One reason I take so many notes is I tend to, if I write something down, I tend to memorize it very easily for whatever reason. Stretchered into yeah, I love it. Hopefully that's below the Mason-Dixon line. I actually have met some. I've met some people. I actually met a lady online that I talked to for months on IRC back in the mid '90s, and went and visited her in Denton, Texas. hmm And one of my bozo friends, although I don't, in retrospect, I shouldn't have been sneaking around anyway, but one of my bozo friends include my high school girlfriend, who we both went to college together. He told her what I was up to. So isn't that against the bro code? I don't know, man. Regardless, I should not have been behaving. Well, really, it was ultimately it was ridiculous for me to believe that I could be loyal to one woman in that way. Not back then. Impossible. Literally impossible. But yeah, some of Mitchell's comments, like I'm making statements in there, and he's like trying to ask these questions to like, it's like, like what is America? And this when I said this about when I said, Tesla claimed to have a literal vision, as in a psychic vision. I'm saying literal so that because most people just assume that that's hyperbolic, like that the person saying that doesn't mean a literal like having a fucking psychic vision. They hear that and just think, well, he's exaggerating for effect. Like, no, that's what Tesla, if that was a real person, that's what Nikola Tesla said. It came to him in a psychic vision how to, whatever that is, I forget the technical term, the turbine to like a hydroelectric, like a big turbine in a hydroelectric dam. He's the one that figured out how to actually do that in practice, apparently. Again, if it's real. So who knows? But I think that's that. And I had somebody when I was doing my thing, when I was lol cowing it up on the Joe Rogan Experience message board, somebody actually found me. Oh, and I met up with a couple of folks who wanted to meet up with me in real life, and like gave me a bunch of weed, and this other guy gave me some pot cookies. Actually, I met up with like 3 different people. Yeah, now that I think about it, that was quite a saga. Maybe we'll get into that at some point. Maybe I'll tell you folks about all that craziness. Then I start to get paranoid doing these live streams because now it's like, oh, the comments aren't coming in. Am I being boring? But I think the regular audience understands it. It takes me a little while to sort of settle in, and I can always get bailed out if somebody wants to call in, obviously. But I'm not sure I got it today, y'all. I'm not sure, man. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But thank y'all for being here as always. Yeah. Oh no, you're good, Rob. I don't expect anything. It's just more of like my own paranoia again. But yeah. Rob manages to add a lot and by not talking somehow, which I appreciate. Oh, the Rogan board. Yeah, see, I actually got banned from there, and I will since Sean seems to be somewhat familiar with it. Uh, when I first started living in my car, I had this little hatchback car, and I just was on the Rogan board, but I mainly just read stuff. But then there's a few topics that I knew a lot about, so maybe I would. And I was a message board guy, but so I'm sure I was posting on there regularly, but that was a very it's hard to explain that environment to someone who did not experience it, but I just posted a thread out of nowhere. I just was like something like I've become a homeless vagabond living in his car or something like that. And dude, it just blew the fuck up. And one thing that happened is, man, they maxed out my rep points like right away. It was crazy, man. Like I went from like almost no rep points to like just maxed out within like a couple of weeks. And it was a top last when I got banned, it was a top 10 all time thread on there. I don't know how it held up after that. Yeah, you know what? I actually watched a video about that this morning. Music Holds a Secret, the that governing body member. To me, it just mainly sheds a light on just how fucked up and crazy that the cult itself is, the Jehovah's Witness cult. Which anytime I mention it to people who haven't experienced it directly themselves, they just say, "Oh, they're so nice." You know, I'm like, "Yeah, that's the point." They come across in specific ways to try to, convert people into the cult. That's how it works. But although shout out to the Watchtower and Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania, I mean, that's a big part of why I'm here talking to you is that I was trained, I was trained in public speaking and knocking on doors and all of this proselytizing. But yeah, there was a video of him years ago where he this guy who just got either stepped down or got removed. Well, and for those who don't know, the Jehovah's Witness organization, they have this thing they call the governing body, and that's typically 8 people, but apparently they'd expanded it to 10 people, all males, of course. Although I wonder if that'll change at some point in the future. You never know. But and I guess they guide the organization or whatever. And but they're within the organization, they're seen as like Jehovah put them in place, like to specifically to serve, like his kingdom or whatever. It's really quite sick and twisted in a lot of ways. It's a very harmful cult. Mm. Directly abuses children and then shields the abusers. Uh, and then hides behind the First Amendment in order to do these activities. And it's satanic ultimately. So there are people, and I think Music Holds a Secret is one that he said that he chose to join as an adult, I believe. Um, so my father, with whatever's wrong with my dad's personality, whatever his mental issues are. So when he brings it up, I don't bring up the Jehovah's Witnesses, but it was such a part of his life and still is to some extent. Yeah, exactly. That my dad, he brings up the Jehovah's Witnesses, so we'll be having some discussion, and he can never understand that since I was raised in the religion, in the cult, that my experience is therefore not comparable or analogous to him choosing to join it as a young adult. Now, he was preyed upon. I mean, there's no doubt that a big part of cults, getting new members is they prey on people who are, in some sort of a weak situation. My parents were vulnerable because I was a newborn and they were very concerned about, raising their children properly and in a moral environment and all of this. So they were actually shopping around. But then my father was raised as a Baptist, Southern Baptist, and it really he didn't like that at all. So it was like so he's starting out saying, well, he's not going to consider this style of church. So they were shopping around for churches. That's how they ended up getting hooked into this cult. But and you can't. It's not their fault for not knowing in 1977 that a cult was predatorily preying on them. And I do like to say I did grow up in an environment of near total ignorance in southeast Arkansas. So I mean, there's something to that. Yeah, yeah. There you go. See, that's yeah. They teach the children public speaking. I mean, like all of them. And my strategy for pleasing my parents was to follow the rules. And from what I've learned about psychology and such is that each child chooses a specific strategy to get approval from their parents. Well, as the firstborn, I had unlimited choice of strategies. So my strategy was to have them view me as someone who follows the rules, but at the same time, my nature is not one of rule following. But it's like it's both. It's a paradox, right? Like I like to be seen as someone who follows the rules. I guess that's more correct. Whether or not I actually follow the rules. I like to be viewed as someone who does follow the rules. Um, So my sisters, when my sisters came along, their methods for getting approval from my parents cannot include following the rules, because that's my strategy. And psychology has shown that each child will pick a discrete strategy, but I would have the first pick as the firstborn. So that's how that works. And then you tie it in with potential undiagnosed autism, and it was arguably more harmful to me than it was to my sisters, potentially. Well, and then, but see, that's where the abuse comes in. Also, is that a child is they're innocent, and they're not, they have a disadvantage versus an adult, right? Yeah. Well, there you go. And I'm glad you admit that. See, my mom has pretty much figured that out. I think my dad's not quite there yet, but I finally got them. Both of them are now at the point where, look, they can see that a cult preyed upon them. So I know they both probably have a lot of guilt over it, I'm assuming. But at one point, my mom was just like, she like apologized to me for it, and I just said, "Well, did you do it on purpose?" Meaning what I was subjected to. And she said, "No." I said, "Well, then it's obviously you're forgiven. Intentionally fucking do that to me. But it's a thing, man. But I also accrued a lot of benefits from it. That's kind of the sick part in a way, is that it actually benefited me in many ways. At the same time that it was very traumatic and damaging, right? It's funny how that works. Yeah, interesting. But I will say that as a person I would never join a cult as an adult. Like I might have started one, like literally might have started one otherwise, but I just wouldn't have there's no way I would have joined a cult as an adult. So I do. It's hard, for a long time I sort of resented them based on how could you be so stupid? Like, really? A grown adult person joining a cult? But I mean, it happens, man. It happens. And then the whole country's more or less in a cult now. The event of the last several years, and the masks and all these, the germophobia, the explosion of germophobia and all of this, that's a cult as far as I'm concerned. So it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, and again, see, here's one of the benefits I received from that cult, is that the cult programming itself hobbles a person's ability to think for themselves, out of necessity. So, in fact, I finally came to realize in my 30s, I said, I realized that's like I really am not able to think for myself, generally speaking, and I then, because of how my mind works, I was able to teach myself logic and reason, which is very helpful, because I started from square zero. I started from zero and built up. So that's where sometimes I'm critical of when other people who probably have a lot of intelligence, when they skip past very basic concepts and try to go right into sophistication and complication. I'm like, I have to start at the basics. And that's how I've done, whatever I've attained, later in life. I have to start with the basics. I'm not smart enough to jump to the complicated and work backwards, thankfully. Yeah, well, that's another thing. I'm extremely sensitive to any sorts of manipulation, like any attempts to manipulate my behavior, or to you know anything predatory, or what I like to call person A using person B for person A's own gratification. Yeah, I'm just, like, super sensitive to that stuff. So that's also helpful, because I see a lot of people who are not as sensitive to that, so they end up falling for certain manipulations. And even if you tell them, like, hey, that person is manipulating you, they just dismiss it out of hand. And in fact, my sister, because I'm very manipulative. It's easy. Well, I shouldn't say I'm manipulative, because I'm not anymore, but I found it very easy to manipulate people. And my sister, the older of my two younger sisters, is that way. And for years, she manipulated my mom, like directly controlled my mom. And Orwell's book, Down and Out in London and Paris, although I may have those transposed, the two city names, but there's a whole page in that book somewhere that I wrote in a notebook, but I don't have the notebooks anymore. But I need to go back to find that PDF. There's a whole page where he perfectly describes these people who are raised up in a certain religious context, and it makes them programmable. So my mom was programmable based on this mind control, and my sister was able to manipulate my mom and program her mind, and I wouldn't have anything to do with my mom because I'm so sensitive to like pattern recognition and like manipulation and all this. Like when my mom would interface with me in a specific way or speak in a specific way, I could immediately be like, I knew that my sister had programmed her. I knew that was coming from my sister. But at the same time, like I know that a person under mind control, just telling them, hey, my your daughter is controlling you directly, at a level of she's accessing these what was done to your mind through this cult, like that's a non-starter. And eventually my mom figured it out and fucking put a stop to it. But it took several years for that to happen. I didn't have nothing to do with my mom during that time. I couldn't deal with it. And with ex-wife number two, she was also somewhat programmable in that way. And her best friend was very manipulative. And there was times that my wife would start saying things to me, and I was like, "That's not you." I said, "That's your friend." Her name was April. I said, "That's April talking." I said, that did not, what you're saying to me right now did not come from you." I said, "I'm not in a relationship with April. I'm in a relationship with you." I said, "You can't." I said, "You got to knock that shit off." But I notice it immediately. I can just tell. It's like, that's not something that my wife would come up with on her own. Like that was put there by somebody else. Like gets sick and twisted, man, like fast. Um, and a lot of people, it just goes right over their head. They just never see it. It's sick, man. And if my second wife, if she had continued to allow that her friend to, you know, pollute her mind, I wouldn't have had anything to do with her. I would have just been like, look, I can't deal with this, you know. So she knocked it the fuck off. Believe me. Who's GB? I'm lost, but that's not anything new. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the military. And I tried to go in the military 2 different times. Thankfully, it didn't take. Because in retrospect, that would not have been good. Although I'm sure I would have been super fucking good at it. Although, and as sick as this sounds, if I had it to do over again, I would have gone in the military right out of high school. I probably would have gone in the Army and Army Rangers, and then I just would have hoped to have been able to make it into Delta Force. I mean, I think that says a lot about me as a person. Like that, knowing what I know now, I would still want, like, I would have wanted to do that. It's kind of sick, huh? Oh, governing body, yeah. What do you think? Music Cult's a secret? 'Cause I mean, I don't really know a whole lot about it. At this point, it's hard for me to care. I got to be honest with you. The way I look at it, anybody dumb enough to let somebody like that bozo run their life, they deserve what they get if they're an adult. Now, the people, again, the innocent kids who are raised in it, that's something totally different. But an adult who joins and then allows a bozo like that to literally run their life, um, I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. They literally, and I know I'm saying literally a lot, but they deserve what they get. Yeah. Oh, I never believed it. See, that's the number one mistake people make when they talk to me about this. I was raised in the religion. It was not consensual, man. I didn't consent to this belief system. It was foisted upon me. I never believed that stuff. But again, because of wanting to be seen by my parents as someone who follows the rules, I went along with it at the level of my behavior. I knew for a fact by the time that I was 12 years old that I would not be participating in this as an adult. But then now I'm almost living a lie because I wasn't free to just tell my parents, hey, this is a bunch of fucking nonsense. I'm not doing this. And then the way the cult functions, a lot of the function of the cult is based on shunning. So according to the rules of the cult, if I don't ever join, although it's a little different, see, I was never baptized, so I was technically never actually subject to the actual rules of the religion. It gets really twisted in the weeds, but so I couldn't be what they call disfellowshipped, but I could be what they call disassociated because I was considered what they call a publisher, and I went to meetings. So I did consent to some of it, but I was a child, right? Um, but the thing is, I never internalized their belief system, so I never actually believed the religious doctrine, right? Uh, I knew it was a bunch of nonsense, but I only knew it intuitively. And my brain wasn't fully formed, and my ability to think and reason for myself never developed. So I knew that it was bullshit, but I didn't know why it was bullshit. And I had no ability to explain. I couldn't defend my viewpoint. I just knew, because I'm very intuitive. I knew intuitively this is fucking nonsense. I'm not, and I knew there's no way I'm going to participate in this. And actually, I was so dumb. I didn't even know. I was so ignorant and brainwashed. I didn't know that I could just tell my parents that I wasn't going to go to the meetings anymore. So when right about the time I turned 17, well, actually, second semester of my senior year, we moved to a completely different part of Arkansas, and I never had trouble going to the meetings, the Jehovah's Witness meetings in my hometown, because I did enjoy a lot of the people that I interacted with. And half the church was black. So, I enjoyed the cultural exchange and all these things. I did enjoy that. I enjoyed learning public speaking, right? Like I like that. But when we moved to this new congregation in a completely different part of Arkansas, I got such a creeped out, weird feeling. I went to one, maybe two meetings, and I said to my parents, I'm not going anymore. And they said, yes, you are. I said, no, I'm not. And they can't make me go to a building, right? So that was the end of my participation. I literally had nothing to do with it after that. But come to find out, years later, there's this guy who he was one of the elders, although I don't think he was there yet when I was there. But this guy went to prison in Arkansas for like 80 years. You can Google it. Just Google Jehovah's Witness Arkansas 80 years or something. It'll come up. But that congregation allowed the Jehovah's Witness, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania moved this guy that they knew sexually abused children. They moved him to that congregation. Wonder why they chose that congregation, by the way. They moved him to that congregation from another state. And then he started sexually abusing a lot of the children. And that congregation, see, I don't think that ever would have happened in where I was from, my hometown. I don't think it ever would have been tolerated. But these people tolerated it. And I believe that I was somehow able to detect there was something wrong with these people, even before that event happened. And I was like, I can't be around this, man. I just can't do it. And I went ahead and pieced on out. Because again, I'm still in that mode of trying to please my parents. Yeah, it was just very twisted, man. It's very fucked up, and there's a lot of what a tangled web we weave. But yeah, I never subscribed to those beliefs whatsoever. So I was never actually a Jehovah's Witness, but I was raised in the religion. And another helpful side effect of the Jehovah's Witness religion is I cannot process religious dogma. So that's half the reason me and Tinfoil Straitjacket can't get along, is he's very dogmatic, although he won't admit to being dogmatic. I can't, because of the way I was traumatized. And look, as a grown man who was raised with "suck it up, don't be a pussy," that's literally the culture I was raised in. I was, socialized to be, very overtly masculine. But I understand how that sounds, but it's true. I mean, I experienced a lot of trauma, based on this stuff. But that is one of the major benefits to me, is I just can't. This whole idea of like Jesus created a bureaucracy and it's like you have to do X, Y, and Z to be saved. I just can't process it, literally. So it's neither here nor there for me. It means nothing. And I think all religion's man-made, and it's done more harm than good over time. I don't think that's debatable, personally. Like, Jesus did not come to the fucking earth. If Jesus was a historical person, and we can, whether or not one wants to believe in the divinity of Christ, whatever, but outside of all of that, based on what's in the Bible, the man did not create a religion and a bureaucracy and a collection of dogma. That's not in the book, man. You can't show me that. You can show me statements attributed to Christ that people then try to extrapolate out into a dogma. But the actual Christian religion is mostly based on shit Paul said, not that Jesus said. It's sick and twisted. And fuck Paul, by the way. I'm not taking Paul's word for the road to Damascus. Sorry, not doing it. I don't care that it's written in a book. There's no trust there, y'all. But I got skin in the game, and that's what these so-called Christians will never admit. Benton has skin in the game, meaning if there's going to be a judgment like the Bible says, it's going to be me and my maker. And I'm just saying, according to the Bible, tinfoil straitjacket and all these dogmatic types ain't gonna be there. I got skin in the game. It's hypothetically, it's my soul at stake. They have to worry about theirs. So people become very confused in their thinking by thinking, oh, they need to go to a building and join a group and get the approval of these humans, and that's somehow going to get them past the judgment, if that's even a thing, by the way, because clearly we're all free to have our own beliefs about that. And another benefit of the Jehovah's Witnesses religion is I had all this stuff crammed down my throat. I would never try to put my beliefs on somebody else. That's insanity. It's not appropriate, man. It's a violation to try to forcefully put those type of beliefs onto another person. It's literally a violation as far as I'm concerned. Like that, I can't be a good person and go around violating people at the level of their spiritual belief, which is what tinfoil does, at least on the internet. He's a violator of people. He attempts to rape their mind into thinking that they have to behave in specific ways or they will burn in hell, essentially. Yeah, sick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Bible. Well, yeah, and it's look, they're like it contradicts itself. It's all fucked up. Just the fact that it's written in English is a problem, as far as I'm concerned. Like, there's lots of problems with the Bible, lots of problems. So I just take what I find, like everything else I've read, I take what benefits me and I leave the rest. That's what I do. And so all the stuff attributed to Paul means nothing to me. So as soon as somebody goes, well, Romans, whatever verse says you have to, no, I don't live by that. When did I agree to live by what Paul wrote? I never agreed to that. So absolutely not. And I choose to, I think the teachings of Christ as outlined in the Gospels, irrespective of any context, I believe those are worthy. For me to try to live that way, I think is admirable and worthy. That's a worthy goal as far as I'm concerned. So when I talk about sin, that's what I mean is aiming at following the example of Christ from the Bible and then falling short. That's what I see sin as. People say, oh, we're all sinners. No, I don't identify as a sinner. It's like saying that somebody's a janitor because they clean a toilet. Yeah, I can commit something referred to as a sin that doesn't transform me into a sinner at the level of how I identify and how I view myself. Just like when I clean a toilet, that doesn't transform me into a janitor at the level of my identity and how I view myself. See, people don't understand, again, a misunderstanding of basic concepts. Until each individual person fully examines all of these very basic concepts, there's so much room for confusion. And again, it's a time of great confusion. And there's no rebuttal to that, by the way. When somebody says that we're all sinners, it's like, well, speak for yourself. I'm not. Oh, you don't sin? Well, that's not what I said. And then I say, if I clean a toilet, do I become a janitor? And there's no answer to that. That's a trap. They've now fallen for the trap because they didn't see it coming. And again, not a Bible channel, but I will certainly express my, I think it's an interesting intellectual exercise, but certainly not a Bible channel. So. Yeah, I mean, you may very well be right there. I might push back on the idea of Jesus even. See, now we get into this idea of is it the cult? So if you're saying that in this context Jesus would function as a cult leader, which is debatable, obviously. What I would say is especially what I'm seeing with all this online stuff, especially the so-called truthers, is like with Paul, Unslaved, is it's easy to try to just say, well, he's trying to start a cult or he's a cult leader. But what I'm realized more and more is actually the adherents. It's the people that go to the live streams who try to turn the person into a cult leader. It's really strange. And props to Music Holds a Secret for just owning what he chose to participate in instead of having, my father still has a lot of psychological resistance and wants to make excuses and sort of, absolve himself for his own part in joining that thing. And look, everybody fucks up, he fucked up. I don't hold it against him, but I'm not gonna hold back when it comes to expressing my views. And that's what I told my parents at a certain point. I said, look, I'm like Frankenstein and you're Dr. Frankenstein. Like you created this, meaning me. Now you have to deal with it. That's the whole story of Frankenstein is that Dr. Frankenstein the local culture, the local, whatever that is, the local community created Frankenstein and had no choice but to deal with Frankenstein's monster. So it's like they created me. Now they have no choice but to deal with me. Like that's a real thing, man. If the way to not have to deal with a Frankenstein is don't create it in the first place. I mean, to me, but again, basic and obvious. And that's why I say there's no such thing as common sense. Totally obvious to me. Hey, if one does not want to spend years dealing with a Frankenstein, don't create it in the first place. I mean, right? Is this? I mean, am I just crazy? It's obvious, but that's why I say there's no such thing as common sense because that's obvious to me, but it's not obvious to a lot of other folks. Yeah, that's funny. What's up, Truth Hurts? Good to see you. I love all those old documentaries. My favorite one is Fabled Enemies, Jason Burmas. That's the one. If I'm gonna go back and watch one of those old docs, that's the one I go for. Fabled Enemies. That thing's a trip. Very well done. Some of the Alex Jones stuff, though, some of the OG Alex Jones stuff is pretty good. I love all that police state stuff he did, Terror Storm and all that. Very enjoyable. Dated, obviously dated by now. Well, this is what I'm talking about. The cult catches people in a vulnerable and insecure. They're in an insecure, vulnerable time of their life. My parents were vulnerable and insecure because they had a strong desire to properly parent their children, and I was, a young child, very young child, and that exposed a weakness that this cult preyed upon, that is demonic, that is satanic, that's on its face, that can never be of God, right? It's not possible. Yeah, exactly. The difference between Dr. Frankenstein and his monster. Exactly. I mean, it's not Frankenstein's fault. It's not the actual monster's fault. He's just a monster in fucking society. He just wasn't here. Now he's here. It's like, hey, who created the monster? There you go. Planet Alpha Terror Prison Brain State. But yeah, effectively it is that. Yeah, well, in its time, that was some groundbreaking material. Lest we forget, it's easy, it's easy to sort of in the modern, in the current context to forget, that was some groundbreaking shit back in the day. Oh man, what's this light? The sun ain't okay. It's just a headlight. But say I know the sun ain't up yet. It's 3 in the morning. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is it's literal mind control. I mean, it's just I think people just think I'm being hyperbolic. It's I was subjected to formal mind control from about the age of 2 onward. Like that happened, right? It's not oh Benton playing the victim. No, that my mind was I was subjected to formalized mind control from a very young age. That's not but we all were. That is true. Yes, all of us were, but that's an informal version. I got the formal version of it, which again, there were some benefits. I'm inoculated against a lot of the brainwashing that comes out through the media and in a lot of this stuff so as far as people falling for the, whatever we want to call it, the hoax of the last several years, I'm inoculated against that. That's part of the cult mind control is they inoculate the members against being controlled by other cults, right? You got to keep control of the mind control slaves. I never was a Cooper guy, actually. I was a little late to the party. But I like David Icke to this day, but obviously he's on some bullshit in some ways. But yeah, I've watched some of those like 7 hour fucking presentations he's done. That's good shit. And some of his stuff on demons is really good as well. It's like everything else, man. Take what benefits me, and I just leave the rest. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That see, I've come to understand that a lot of these folks who might arguably function as a cult leader in some context or in some specific ways, that's not them necessarily doing that. A lot of it is that's what the people are actually trying to create for themselves. That you have this collection of people who need a strong leader, so they set forth to create that strong leader. And I think that's how I ran Snicker Pie off, although maybe she just went on vacation, or but I'm pretty sure that I ran Snicker Pie off by pointing out that she is the type of person who, out of necessity, must wait for someone such as myself or Paul, who has a strong, assertive, dominant personality. She needs that person in order to play off of, so that she's not able to just go on. And the example I give is people who can't just go out onto a blank stage in front of an audience and begin to perform or create, which doesn't make them less than me, by the way. It just means when I go on a stage and start performing and creating, then now she's activated and she wants to play off of me so that she can get in where she fit in, which is completely fine, right? Same thing with Paul, but I don't think she was aware of it. And I also think possibly she dates women. Again, I have no beef with that. I don't care. But I think maybe she dates women who dominate her psychologically. So maybe and I'm just guessing, maybe she starts to see, oh, Benton is now speaking truth about my life, and he's right, and maybe she doesn't want to face up all that. Or I could just be completely off base and wrong. Like that she may have just decided to do other things with her time, right? But I think I'm probably right, most likely. And again, nothing against her, but it's like I can't observe these dynamics. Part of it is, whatever's right. And again, I went to a building as a child, and here's a song we sang on a regular basis. We're Jehovah's Witnesses. We speak out in fearlessness. So if I know something to be true, I have no fear around just saying it out loud. No, I'll just blurt it out, which probably also intersects with my personality in some ways, because I think other people who were kids and were just like, I don't think they were affected very deeply by that level of programming. It went right into my brain. Again, Frankenstein's monster. Yeah. So if I observe these dynamics, like when Snicker Pie had her conversation with Paul, I'm seeing, yeah, she needs a strong personality to play off of. But then I can see her actually trying to then turn that strong personality into something that would be more of her liking, or more that will behave more preferentially, right? Which is not a thing. If a person needs something outside of them as a catalyst, and I would be a catalyst, and Paul would be a catalyst in this sense, then she can pick the catalyst, but once the catalyst is selected, the chemist doesn't get, the catalyst, once it starts doing its thing, and I don't have a knowledge of chemistry necessarily, but it's not appropriate or even possible for her to then try to manipulate the catalyst itself necessarily. And again, maybe I'm wrong when it comes to strict chemistry, but that's not a thing. The person with the strong personality who will go out here and just boldly fucking go onto an empty stage before an audience and start creating, that person will never let other people modify their behavior, unless maybe for specific reasons. So I'm watching her try to modify his behavior. It's not a thing. It's just not a thing. Well, she just disappeared. That's what happened. She's gone. But I'm speculating as to what the reasons may be, because it did coincide with me verbalizing all these things that I'm talking to you right now. And I said Snicker Pie, and I broke down, and I may have even played the live. I don't know. Maybe I played the live stream and responded to it. I honestly can't remember. It was either off the dome I talked about it, or hell, maybe I played the fucking clips. I can't remember. I say so many things in so many different places, it's hard to keep track of it. Yeah, there you go. Well, by the way, I was the first person to just go after QOC's ideas in some sort of. Now, maybe other people did it, but I did it on my podcast. I did an episode of my podcast where I played audio from a QOC video, and I went in on what I used my logic and reason to go in on what I called his half baked nonsense, and I just tore apart several of his ideas. And then, months later, he's saying, "No, well, nobody," just like Archaics, he's saying nobody ever attacks my ideas. And I'm like, he didn't say it to me, but I'm like, well, I did a podcast that's it got a decent amount of attention. It was listened to. You know, every one of my episodes was heard thousands of times. So, yeah, people heard it, and I would say it was influential. I could see the ideas rippling out into the larger community. Now, whether or not that's because they heard me say it or not, who knows? But like, I can tell when something's influential, and I kind of got the ball rolling on that, which is fine. I mean, I most likely popularized the term so-called truth community, but dude, this is all for free, man. Just take it and have it and use it. Because believe me, I take and use and have stuff I got from other people. So, I don't feel any ownership of these things, but you know, I am a bit ahead of the curve at times. Yeah, Robin, yeah, to her credit, yeah. And it just you know, again, the thing is, if I'm gonna say what I'm gonna, at some point I just can't hold back, and I'm just gonna say what I gotta say. But there's no animosity or ill will there. Same thing with Slash Eye, but it's like, you got to come correct. And by the way, I learned that from black women. Literally, my hometown's 75% blacks. Black women taught me that in a lot of ways. Just no, she didn't come correct, and it's not my fault. She didn't come correct. Nothing I can do about it. Once I dig in, same thing and when I saw her interacting with Moose, it's like, once somebody like me digs in, and I'll never, can't move me once I dig in. It just can't be done. Yeah, I never listened to Archaics either. Yeah, now I think he is. Yeah, I think that's a more overt example for sure. But there's a lot of people who want a strong leader. They have a desire to be led by a strong personality. It's a thing, man. There you go. Yeah, I'm working with the not nilk. Well, I am from Arkansas, and apparently not nilk is Clinton backwards, right? Bill Clinton was my governor almost the entire time I was growing up. Orville Faubus, who was the governor during that whole deal in Little Rock with the integration of the school district and the National Guard got called in, he actually somehow came back and beat Clinton for one term, but then Clinton came back, was governor up until the time he ran for president in '92. It was an interesting time to be from Arkansas. Clinton became the president, and then the Razorbacks won the national championship at basketball. Yeah. Yeah, strong, exactly. Well, more about how the majority of the populace necessarily needs a strong personality or a to play off of and to use as a catalyst for their own. It's like they're stuck in neutral, but then I come along, somebody like me or Paul Enslaved comes along, and now they can shift into drive. They need that, and I know I'm mixing my metaphors here, but they need that strong personality to almost act as a catalyst. They're not able. They don't have a strength of character or personality, which is fine, by the way. We can't all, have strong personalities in that way, but they need it. So they have to wait for someone with a strong personality to initiate, and then they can have an interplay, which again is completely fine. But I don't know that. I think a lot of times I don't think that the person who's taking the more submissive role, I don't think they really realize that they need the person with the strong personality. Well, and see, this is, I think, and this is a good point. Tinsel TQ says everyone seems to be looking and putting their trust faith in the wrong people. Well, what I would say is it's an incorrect strategy, and it's my externalization versus internalization. Instead of going inward first, resolving the conflict within themselves, and then connecting externally to the world around them based on resolving whatever's going on internally, they want to connect externally first and then try to use the external to resolve the internal, which cannot be ever be done. But they can absolutely join up with a movement and get their ego and their self-image identified with something of strength. And this is a whole thing. There's a really good book, although it's not a good read, but A Denial of Death by Ernest Becker and this other guy, I can never remember his name. They describe how all of this works psychologically. And so it's that, instead of going inside, transforming oneself, you know, and get tapping into their own personal power, it's that going externally and then attaching and identifying themselves with symbols of strength that lie externally, and then trying to use that as if that can somehow transform them, which is not possible. And I do believe in the transcendent potential of the individual, but that only happens by going inward, which is obviously difficult, painful, arduous, disorienting, and most people never do it as a result. Some of it is just not understanding. It's an ignorance or lack of understanding, but then a lot of it is just that hurts. It's too painful to realize just exactly what's going on in here. So thus most people never even truly understand like who and what they are. And for all my flaws and faults, I know exactly who in the fuck I am. 100%. I had to get to know this motherfucker, or I wasn't going to make it. And I did what I had to do. So, yay me! But it's not for me to go out here and create some man-made system for other people. Oh, I can teach you how. It's like, no, I really can't. I learned how to teach me to do that, but I'm not you, so I can't really teach you. I can give you some hints and clues along the way, just like I got a lot of hints and clues along the way. Absolutely, but go read First and Last Freedom by Krishnamurti. He'll explain to you very logically why that's a huge mistake to try to go externally and access a system created by another man in order to try to achieve internal goals. It's not a thing, but people can definitely make a living through those means. People can definitely, network with other people through those means, right? But they'll never ever, do the work internally that must be done. I believe, it's my opinion, that without that internal work being done, the person will never advance beyond whatever this realm is, or that whatever that conscious, whatever that spirit is that we may refer to as their soul, is never going to vibrate out of this realm, I should say. But those are my opinions. I do tend to say my opinions as if they're facts, so I like to clarify. Yeah, I don't. By the way, I don't consider Paul a cult leader. I believe he functions as one in certain contexts. I don't think he's a cult leader, but I did initially, solely based on my presuppositions, my own prejudices, and from observing other groups online, which by the way, have nothing to do with Paul enslaved. So that was my own prejudice, and I have to answer for that, right? So I would like to think I've confessed, repented, and hopefully I'm forgiven for that. I was wrong about Paul, but what I'm saying is, for the audience or the adherents, he functions in that way some of the time, is all I'm saying. But that's not him doing that. That's them doing that. That's right. His name in the house? What's up, JT? Never, JT. I'll never take a knee. Yeah, well, like I say, I believe he functions as one in certain contexts, but it's certainly debatable. It's just I'm calling my shot. Oh, you're good, Rob. I love to just talk on things. So, yeah, and I don't follow the chat. It's hard for me to talk and follow the chat correctly. So it's one of my failings. Well, I would say, yeah. I mean, I think he is an actor, but that's not the totality of it. I'm an actor. I'm a very good actor, but that doesn't mean I'm acting when I'm talking to you folks. Maybe I'm acting when I go into the truck stop or when I interface with the people that work at my trucking company, right? But I'm an expert at just creating a fucking persona on the fly to achieve a specific result. I can do that like I can breathe. That's not a problem. But then you get into things like dissociation and actual disorders, which I don't have, thankfully, like a dissociative identity disorder, which used to be known as multiple personality disorder. There you go. Exactly. Well, that's what persona means, right? Well, and the name, see, it's not my job to convince you either way, right? Like I wouldn't personally, I wouldn't waste any of my time. If that's what you truly believe, I wouldn't waste any of my time trying to convince you otherwise. Because that's if you really believe that, then that's real for you. And who am I to say otherwise? It's not really my function. I can give commentary and opinions, but you're right. I mean, yeah, you're right. If that's real and true, then you're right. Yep. Well, and that's another thing. Like, I know people think Dr. Drew's kind of a joke, but the dude really is very astute in certain ways, and he is an addiction medicine. He is an addiction medicine specialist, and the fucking high level people go to him. But I think I might have lost my point. Oh, he talks about how I can go off by myself and I can do all this internal work till I'm blue in the face, but I have to practice it with other people. Otherwise, it counts for nothing. Like we have to interact with people and we have to work these things out in relation to other people. Otherwise, it's not a thing, man. So it's like like what I did going off by myself and working on myself. I then have to go back into society, right? It's not, yeah, I could go sit cross-legged under the fucking Bodhi tree, sure, but that's not the thing, man. Like I have to go back into society. Like I have to have these interactions with people. So yeah, I can go spend a week by myself, no problem. And in fact, I need time to myself, but then I can come on here and talk to you guys literally for 10 hours. Well, but I don't disagree with you, Name. I would say we would have to define what do we mean by becoming my true self. But you're not wrong here. I mean, I think there's something to what you're asserting. And the idea of an actor on a, all the, the ideas of everybody being an actor, when you say actor on the world stage, well, we typically mean like a person who's playing a role famously, right? Like if, this idea that Ted Kaczynski was played by an actor who also played Terrence McKenna, but then, if you're talking about in the Shakespearean sense, I mean, it's still hyperbolic, right? It's not, there is such a thing as exaggerating for effect. So pointing out the hyperbole doesn't necessarily negate the underlying idea, I would say, but it's point counterpoint. I mean, definitely. But yeah, I think my critiques are accurate with respect to how many people are spinning their wheels at the level of they have a desire to and really what we're talking about is transcendence. We're talking about a human being who's experiencing specific limitations and has a desire to transcend those limitations. And after that transcendence is performed, that person will never be subject to those specific limitations again. And a lot of it is self-created limitations. So, and in some way, the way to then transcend those limitations is not through an assertive yang masculine means. It's actually through a passive feminine yin means of stop creating the limitation, which, I mean, it's sounds obvious and just like, well, yeah, of course, but then that's a practice, because if I'm in a pattern of creating a limitation for myself, to then learn how to just knock it the fuck off and stop creating a limitation for myself, that's counterintuitive. Because again, I don't think it's a coincidence that we are socialized and indoctrinated. Anything I want to achieve, I have to go out there, seize the day, carpe diem, pull myself up by my bootstraps and get, and every goal must be achieved through an assertive, aggressive yang means. And I'm telling you, no, there's many things that you will never be able to achieve solely through those mechanisms. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this beast system has convinced us that all goals and everything that we would ever desire are attained solely through that aggressive, assertive means. It's a very subtle way of control, I would say. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. And I do see a lot of people just dismissing ideas out of hand. But I like to do this thing where when a person I know to be intelligent says some shit based on some shit I said, I tend to actually be like, okay, some of this has to be valid solely based on the person and the context, the person responding and in what context they're responding, versus just, oh, that runs contrary to what I believe, so it's null and void. Well, that's a poor strategy, because I can always reject those notions later. I don't gain anything by immediately dismissing new information. That's a poor strategy. But again, no such thing as common sense, because it's always been obvious to me. And in fact, I would say this notion of dismissing ideas out of hand without considering them is based in emotionally, it's based on irrational fear. A rational strategy would say, well, let's go ahead and sit with the idea long enough, and then if it's in fact invalid, we can reject it later. I don't accrue any advantages by rejecting the idea immediately. And in fact, arguably, I would potentially be harming myself in the long run. Again, obvious to me, not obvious to other people. So it's not for me to go out here and settle people's hash, right? But it is for me to make sure I don't let these bozos pressure me into becoming like them by lecturing me on common sense. I'm like, well, that's not even a thing. Like, I understand that what I estimate to be 85% of everybody more or less thinks and acts and behaves in the same way. And yeah, you can call that common sense, but that's not a thing, really, as far as I'm concerned. What's happening, Woody? Good to see you, bro. Yeah. Exactly, JT. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, the laundry bag I ran over. Exactly. Well, at least, we can get some amusement out of an otherwise unfortunate event. Yeah. Hopefully, anyway. I don't feel well, y'all. I mean, I think I got too much rest again. Well, I think that was a pretty good rant out of me. I would like to think so. Good time to sort of come back to center. I'm just kind of waiting on the chat. The chat, and by the way, I've been saying since the early days of my podcast, I very early on detected that the audience is smarter than I am. So I'm always aware of that phenomenon. Believe me. Believe you me. Thank God, by the way. Yeah, you asked me that the other day, and I've realized that I've started to answer, but I never did. But it's still a little sore. But I think if I wanted to, I could actually cut my hair now. So I wanted to cut my hair a couple of days ago, but I was like, my head's too sore. But yeah, I could actually. I don't know. I'd still probably wait a few days. But see, I can rub it. But yeah, it hurts. But I think as far as the cognitive effects, I think all that's over with, thankfully. So yeah, it's just an actual bruise at this point, I would say. But thanks for asking. Yeah, I like the water stuff, and I will say I drank nothing but distilled water for years, and I don't think it was a good. I don't think it was good for me in the long run. It certainly did not create my health woes, but it probably helped push me down that road a little bit. I have to think the whole stripping one of minerals and such that may actually be a thing. And you know, like I tend to take a lot of vitamin D, especially since I have and well, now it's probably just normal, but in the past, well, it's high for my age. Let's be fair, but since I have high testosterone, part of that is part of what supports that is getting enough vitamin D. And in fact, if a man goes to a doctor, but not a hormone, you know, not a hormone doctor, but if somebody just goes to a medical doctor, like a general practitioner, and gets diagnosed with low testosterone, the first thing that the doctor does is put him on mega doses of vitamin D, literally. So, but I'm coming to find out this may have something to do with my poor eyesight. Is that apparently because D3 is actually like the body, as far as the body is concerned, is an actual hormone. Well, apparently that strips the body of vitamin A. So I think, and I used to take cod liver oil. I think I'm going to get back into the cod liver oil, although the quality shit is very expensive. Uh, but probably going to get back on cod liver oil, which contains natural vitamin D. Although you have to read the bottle because some of it has the lower quality cod liver oil has smaller amounts of the natural vitamin D and vitamin A, by the way. But then they add the D3 to it, and then they also add something that they try to claim is vitamin A, but really isn't. So, isn't that interesting how that works? And I understand why a lot of people just throw their hands up when it comes to nutrition and just give up because it becomes way too complicated very quickly. But yeah, I'm probably just going to go back to the cod liver oil to get my vitamin D. I think I'm going to knock it off with the D3. Yeah, it's good shit, man. Well, and I used to be in fact, when I was young, I was actually the pickiest. I've never met somebody that was as picky of an eater as I was, but when I ate the 5,500 calories a day and pounded the weights, I got to where I could take so many supplements and drink so many fucking powders and shit that I got to where now I could pretty much just I can just put cod liver oil in a fucking tablespoon and just drink it. Like I can just make myself take it, which I didn't used to be able to do that. Yeah, actually, I saw that on Amazon. You can buy just actual, yeah, you can buy cod liver in a tin. So yeah, that would also be an option potentially. Thank you for reminding me. That's also expensive, by the way. But yeah, the thing about that is, I wouldn't be able to eat. And I'll tell you why I haven't bought those yet. Is because my tendency would be to eat the entire tin at once. And what I realize is that I would really have to I would need to break it up into small portions. Which living in a truck and then am I really going to try to manage all of that? You know, as far as opening the tin and then portioning everything out. You know, it's probably not going to be compatible with the rest of my lifestyle. So, but I hear you. Having it in a bottle or in capsules, even though it would be more expensive potentially, would probably be the way to go for me. Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah, because I used to just go to the store and buy fish oil, and apparently, what we found out is most of that's just rancid, and it's actually worse for you than just not taking it at all. And I'm after me being half a hippie, and I've tried I've done so much of these cleanses and I've done so much of these homeopathic stuff. I'm convinced that half the shit's bad in the long run. I mean, for real. Like I did 17 days on the master cleanse, you know, which is probably still good, but I fucked up my transition back to regular food, and I certainly benefited from the master cleanse, but in the long run, a lot of this stuff I think is not so good. But then some of it is right. So it's like, how do you balance that out? And I tend towards going way to the extreme with everything. That's just my personality. So I'm one of those, all or nothing people in a lot of ways. That's not necessarily good when it comes to, things I'm putting in my body or adhering to some strict fucking practice of discipline, like the Master Cleanse or something like that. Yeah, caviar. I have looked at caviar actually at times. Yeah, the colloidal silver I've heard a lot of good things about. For whatever reason, I've just never gone there myself, so I don't know. And then I guess gold is also a thing. It's monoatomic gold or whatever. Uh, well, the thing is, I have to eat vegetables because I like with my health conditions, like I have to get fucking calories in my body, man. Like I need, you know, I'm not I'm not able to just do carnivore forever, but I can't. I just can't eat that diet based on my health issues. So um, I don't agree that vegetables are poison, and I think the oxalates are overblown. Although too much oxalates is bad. It's like anything else. Like it's too much, very bad. The right amount, probably good, right? Because there's a lot of fucking like, I take these. What is this? Let's see if I can find this stuff. This is this sulforaphane, right? This is derived from broccoli. So this comes from something that's high in oxalates, right? But from broccoli seeds. But this is probably good for my body, most likely. But then if I ate enough broccoli, especially with my fucked up digestion, now I'm putting too much oxalates, and I have fucking CKD, so my kidneys can't deal with the oxalates anyway, right? And when I first got sick, man, when I first got off the booze, I was going and getting greens shakes because I'm trying to do the right thing, right? Hey, Jeff's back. What's up, Jeff? Good to see you, bro. How are you?
What's up, brother?
Welcome back, sir. How are you?
Just checking in.
Oh, sorry. For some reason I asked you and then took my headphones off. Sorry about that. Not sure why I did that. What did you say?
Oh, just checking in, brother.
Right on, man. Well, welcome. You got anything for us? You know me, I'll just ramble otherwise, so please feel free.
No, I just got in, so I didn't know what you were rambling about.
Well, we were talking about nutrition, oxalates, nuts being bad for somebody potentially. Although I would say if you just go to the store and buy nuts, most of that shit is fried in bad oils. So yeah, no bueno. But then the oxalates and I'm not one of these people who just says vegetables are bad across the board. So it's interesting when we get into the diet talk. It becomes dogmatic and very quickly. I've noticed. What do you think?
Yeah, I did the carnivore diet for a while, and for me, it worked really well. Do you know Charlie Freak?
I don't ever know any of these people, but I did carnivore for about 6 straight months years ago. But yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so this guy Charlie Freak says we're frugivores, so we need nothing but fruits ever. So anything that falls from the fruits, that's what we're supposed to be doing or whatever. And all the sugar converts into this, whatever. I don't know all the science of it, but they basically claim that you're going to be a frugivore.
Yeah, I do good on fruit myself. I just can't have too much of it. But I have specific issues, so what applies to me doesn't necessarily apply to other people. I don't know if you know, like my pancreas doesn't work and my kidneys are all fucked up.
What do you think that caused that?
I think some of it's genetic. Some of it was lifestyle. Some of it was
Let's
alcohol. What's that?
let's be let's be
Say
real.
it again. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
So you don't think it was deep, like drug abuse or nothing else?
I've never abused drugs other than alcohol. People just assume I used to be a drug addict. I've never, ever even tried a hard drug other than alcohol. I've done cocaine 0 times. I've done meth 0 times. I've done opiates 0 times in my life. But I abused alcohol for, I almost drank myself to death very recently. But I already had my health issues. It just made them worse. So, but I've never been addicted to drugs, thank God, other than alcohol.
Why do you think that happened?
The alcohol abuse?
Yep.
Oh, I was trying to kill myself. I literally tried to drink myself to death I think about 9 months ago.
Why?
Because I was trying to check out.
Why?
Because I didn't want to be here anymore. That's why. I mean,
Why?
I'm not trying to be a dick.
I know, but why?
Mainly because of the societal changes over the last several years.
So you think you checking out is gonna fix it?
I don't think fixing it is a thing. I don't think there's any problems on a mass scale that can be solved or fixed. It's not possible. It's a flaw in people's thinking to believe that any problems that humans experience on a mass scale can be resolved, in my opinion.
So then why express it?
Say it again.
Then why express it?
Express what?
What you went through.
Why talk about what I went through? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Why?
Oh,
why even express it if it doesn't mean shit? Right?
well, of course it all means something.
Does it? But what does
Yeah.
it mean to you?
Well, it's my experience, so it has meaning to me, obviously. So other people it would be up to them to derive meaning for themselves in their own lives. None of that has nothing to do with me. That's for them.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, it's really that simple. But I was actually brainwashed as a child. I was indoctrinated by a cult to speak out in fearlessness. So if I know something to be true, I just tend to just say it. So unabashedly, which I notice most people are not able to do that. They are not able to just go out and say true things about themselves, which is fine. I know I'm a little strange in that regard, but we were talking about the Jehovah's Witnesses earlier. I was raised in the Jehovah's Witness cult. So in part, they made me this way. I think Jeff has had a lot of cannabis today, which nothing wrong with that. But am I right?
I do have a cannabis farm.
I know. I remember. Yeah, I love cannabis personally. Big fan. Unfortunately, I do a job where I'm not allowed to consume it because the government inspects the contents of my urine on occasion.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. The chat says that you're fried. I wouldn't mind being fried right about now, but
I'm fine. Yeah. I'm fine being fried. That's cool.
Oh, I'm sure you're used to it. So yeah, I used to be used to it also. Because when I don't drive a truck, I'm usually fried myself. It is interesting being freed from the booze though, because my body can no longer process alcohol, so I have no desire to drink. So that's interesting. 'Cause I used to
So
like to drink alcohol and smoke weed. It was a great combination. But go ahead, sir.
yeah, so you can't do it because your body didn't allow it.
Yeah, my organs are in such a poor
That's it.
state that I can't. I just can't tolerate alcohol anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, so you couldn't personally allow it or not allow it.
Yeah, it's just not. I tried after I got off of the. I went through 3 weeks of very bad alcohol withdrawals, which the way I got through that was through I took a lot of cannabis, high amounts of THC to get through the withdrawals, and then after that I tried to drink twice, and my body was just like, nope, we just cannot do this. And since then, no desire to drink alcohol. But if I eat a candy bar, I'm sick for 2 days. Like I'm not even kidding. I'm pretty fucked up. Yep. So I don't eat any processed foods anymore. Like no junk food, no fast food. I can't have any of that stuff. Whatever's in that, if that's a bag of chips or whatever, I can't eat it or I'm sick for 2 days. It's crazy. Yeah. But mainly, I'm just trying to maintain my body weight at this point. I'm down to like 130 pounds, maybe 128. I need to weigh. Yeah. Not good, man. How's things on the cannabis farm? I'm trying to think of where we're at in the growing season or whatever. Let's see. Plants in the ground yet, or what are we doing? Or you said a greenhouse, so they're in pots, I guess.
Not yet.
But soon, right? Soon?
Uh,
No?
Probably April 1st.
Okay. So yeah, like another month. Okay.
Yep.
Cool, man. Anything you'd like to get into?
No, I'm just listening.
All right, cool, man.
Sorry, brother. Yeah, maybe I'm just reaching out.
Okay. Well, it's good to talk to you today. Yeah, definitely.
Sorry. Yeah, my dad just went to the ER, and
Oh no.
so I guess I'm just maybe I'm just reaching out to. I like you, Benton. I think you're a good dude, and I'm just up late, looking for some kind of solace, some civil discourse or something. My dad, yeah.
What happened?
I guess I don't know. Can't breathe. Blah blah blah. And they're saying it's like kidney shit. Whatever. I don't fucking know. So, anyways, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you. I'm probably
Well,
a
you're
little
not.
fucked up.
Well, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear
So
that.
I'm just trying to. I guess I'm looking for some kind of console. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy stuff, man.
Sorry, that's heavy. Anyways,
You're not
I talked
bothering
to
me,
you.
man. You're
No,
not
I talked
bothering
to
me.
you. No, I talked to you the other night. I think you're a solid dude. I don't think I'm unreasonable. And then I just found out. I guess it's coming with my dad and shit. So.
Well, that's
I'm I'm just dealing with it how I can, man. Not on you. I think you're a good dude.
Well, thanks.
I'm just trying to feel. I guess I'm trying to, besides my family and other people, to figure out how to, console myself. So, thank you for listening.
Yeah, man. I'm always happy to listen. It's that's real shit right there for sure.
Yeah, that's all. I'm not trying
All
to
right, man.
challenge you. I'm not trying to challenge you in anything. I'm a dude, man. I'm a dude like you. I'm a
Amen.
real,
And yeah,
I'm
the
a real
stuff with the fathers are can be very difficult. I've found it can be pretty tough.
yeah. To my dad, my dad was, my dad was, I mean, compared to most of these people online and shit, my dad's a real dude. So he coached he coached my little league basketball, t-ball, whatever. Like he did it all, man. My dad was a good dad. So I'm having like a real issue right now because yeah, he's in he's in the ER. So I'm just having issues right now. My bad. Not trying to be abrasive. Not trying
You're not. You're not, man. You're not being abrasive.
to. Okay.
Yeah, you're good as far as I'm concerned. But when this happened today, I guess.
Yeah, today.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm hoping he's gonna be okay. But in the event that he's not, I'm having like a real moment, like how much it's gonna affect me. You know, like if he doesn't make it, then how okay am I gonna be? I guess I have to just be fucking infallible. I have to be a man. I have to just fucking I have to tear it up. Just do what it does. I'm just not ready. I guess I'm not ready for it yet. But if it does happen, then it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry.
How old?
Sorry to
No, man. No, you're good. How old is he?
dude, he's only like 60, 65 years old.
Okay.
But like he he acts like he's ready to fucking he acts like he's ready just to like throw in the towel. He doesn't give a fuck.
Ah,
Is
I
that
see.
weird? Is that weird?
Well, I think if it's probably weird to you, I'm guessing, if you because typically we would see our fathers as very strong and in some ways, our hero. Like, that's cliche, but I mean, there's something to that. And then to see that person who probably told you to, never give up, and then, maybe he's now if you see that he might be giving up, yeah, that'd be hard for me to deal with. Absolutely. So
Oh,
I
Rob,
think yeah. What's up, Rob? Oh, Rob dropped off. He'll be back though, I think. But I mean, that's the way I would look at it. Is based on how you viewed him as a younger person, that this would probably be inconsistent with your image of him based on how he raised you. I'm guessing. I mean, I don't have any knowledge of that. That's what I would assume. And to see that person weak and helpless and potentially giving up would be very difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm a lot stronger than my dad, so it's a little different for me. I already see the weakness in him, so I accept it, and we have a relationship and all that. But if you just assume that he was always going to be stronger than you, it's probably very jarring to see that. Well, in fact, he's at some point we're all weak and helpless, no matter what we do. That's how we come into the world, and that's how we go out a lot of times. Weak and helpless.
Yeah, no, he doesn't define me.
There you go. That's good. That's good, I think. Yeah. What's up, Rob?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Sorry about dropping out that last time. My Bluetooth wasn't connected, and I had to get that situated.
Yeah, that happens. Jeff was telling us about his dad is in the ER.
Yeah, I was listening. Yeah, my dad's sort of in that same situation, kind of. He's relatively healthy, but he's kind of going in and out of the ER as well. Well, not the ER, but the hospital. I'm not sure if it's inoculation related. I mean, I would assume so because he got that and a few boosters. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. I've detached myself to the point where it's like it is what it is.
Yeah. So
Rob,
Yo,
I want you to date my sister.
Yeah, everybody on here is trying to bring Rob into their family. I've noticed. That's funny. I like that.
No, dude, Rob's so solid. Rob's solid.
He's doing something
I
right.
appreciate that, Jeff.
And hey, by the way, I wasn't coming up here for like a sob story or something. This shit just happened to me, so this is real time me dealing with it. If I could be on any stream, I was just trying to find a fucking stream to kind of like.
Yeah, none of us saw it. I don't think any of us are seeing it like that, like some sob story. You're going through some shit and you want to talk about it.
Yep, thank you. Yep, that's all. So, I'm just. You know what's fucked up is like we all try to like psychoanalyze everything in life,
Yeah.
and like I listen to Paul. I listen to a lot of shit, dude. I listen to million streams, and I take in what means something to me. But like there's something that comes like it brings me back to the people. So I'm here, dude. I'm here. Now I'm on your stream, Benton.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how I got to you, but
Me neither.
But it seems like you're a solid dude.
Well, I'm trying, but thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, not that my opinion or anything fucking matters, but if it does,
it does. Yeah, sure.
Then that's my opinion.
Yeah, it does matter. We're not Talcott over here.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm not in my. I'm not trying to be in my imagination and stuff, but like a bunch of regional people. Rob, I'm gonna hook you up with my sister. I think it may be destiny. I don't know.
Hey, it could be, man. I'm all for it. I'm looking for a companion.
Yeah. Anyway, I honestly, yeah, my pops is my pops. He just drinks and drinks and drinks, smokes and
Mm.
smokes and smokes, and he won't get it out of his own way. So he's in the hospital now. So I had a dream about this. I had a dream about this years ago. I think it's what brought me to here. So can't really explain it. It's just all playing out. So
Well, it's just to help prepare you for it.
say that again, Rob.
So the dream that you had, maybe it was just to help you prepare for it. Now that you're living it now.
Yeah. Rob, I love you so much.
I love you too, Jeff.
I think
And I love you, Benton.
Well, thank you. I'm unfortunately I'm too inhibited to say that to y'all, but hopefully you feel
no,
what I'm feeling. What's
no,
that?
Ben, I love you too.
Thank you. Thank you. But don't be offended when I don't say it back, please.
No, I won't. I won't.
It's nothing
But
personal. That was inflicted upon me through my upbringing. I'm not able to say that.
No, I feel that from listening to you talk. I feel that.
Yeah, thanks. It has nothing to do with what's going on in here, you know.
So let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story, if I may.
Please do.
So I was born in a family that it'd be blasphemy if you didn't say I love you when you get off the phone. So like I'm very close to my uncles. I was to my grandparents, but they're all gone. But like everyone in my family, even my cousins, like I normally don't get off the phone with them without saying I love you. And so for some people, that might be fucking weird. But in my family, it's like weird if you don't do that. You know what I mean? So everyone's a little different. Like I know you're on the road, Benton. You've been doing your own thing your whole life. I can't speak for you, but you've been backpacking from what you've told, what you said.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been on your own and you've just done your own shit. And for me, it's tough to not be supportive, but like someone in my family, and maybe they, maybe someone would call that privilege or white privilege because I'm white. I don't care. It doesn't. It's kind of silly, but like we all come from like different walks in life. I think that we're all brought together for this very moment because you've been kicking ass and now you're in the truck and you're rocking it like I'm following you, man.
Oh no. Don't do that. But thank you.
But I'm following you, man. For some reason or another, the universe has brought me to you, Ben.
Okay, I can accept that. Yeah, I got you.
And I believe in what you're. I ride with you, man. I think,
man. But
I think it's true. I think it's something I just feel connected. So cool. Whether it's through Rob Cleveland, because he follows you or not. No, I don't think it was that. I found you one night and you were riding, dude. And you were showing the road in front of you. There's something about that just just following someone's life. Like, I don't know what's sexy about that, but it's kind of sexy. Even if you have like the open road, no, like, dude, even if you put the open road in front of you, like, just to see you on the open road, like, that's something authentic, because not a lot of people are doing anything.
That's true. That's very
You know
true.
what I mean? So even like when you're on stream, like, it's so it's so weird to watch someone that is literally, it's like your fucking stream is like the highway in front of you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
It's a trip. Yeah.
dude, it's a trip how many people fucking follow that. And I
Yeah,
follow it too.
yeah.
So like
I, yeah.
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just it's so fascinating to me. And then also, like, well, they wouldn't follow you if you didn't have a fascinating, like, perspective of your own life to go with it. So I don't need your face or whatever, but you're just like on the fucking road. And
Yeah.
I see the open road in you, but like there's nothing that I don't think that's fucking fake. That's all.
Yeah, there's something to that. The call of the open road, as it were. There's a lot of symbols. You know, there's a certain appeal to that, I would say. So I think I understand what you mean.
Rob Cleveland, what do you say?
Yeah, I find it very fascinating as well. Like I told him, I think it was last night, where it gives me that very AM radio feel. Seeing that open road, and it's probably in conjunction with the accent and how he talks.
Yeah.
That gives me that feeling, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it just as much as Jeff does.
Well, thanks, bro. I appreciate it. That makes me want to continue. That's for sure. But sometimes I think when I'm on here showing my face, people would rather see me driving. But you know, I'm not. I don't have anywhere to go right now, or I would drive. And Jeff dropped off. We never really know if their internet messes up or what happens. But yeah, it's pretty deep, especially dealing with the stuff around the parents. You know, that can be really tough. And you know, I got my own. We all sort of have our own personal experience of that, right? But then there's some overlap, also. You know, between the way that functions psychologically and then in our emotions. And I'm certainly not an expert in the emotional side of it, but you know, I'm learning to get out of my own way and just feel shit versus, you know, wanting to kind of lash out and take everything on and be strong and tough. You know, it's like my mom. She went to I was real sick with the thing, man. I got the worst form of that thing that was making everybody sick, and I also had a broken foot at the same time. I ended up spending 3 months in bed all day, every day for 3 months, but I just broken my foot. And my mom went to the hospital, and of course, they just discharged her immediately. So a couple of days later, she got so sick she had to go back. And I saw her when she left, and my only thought was, well, I mean, she's either going to make it or she's not. I mean, she looked like she wasn't going to make it, but she's still alive, thankfully, you know, but you know, definitely has some challenges, as I think a lot of our parents are going through that, especially someone around my age. You know, my parents are around 67, and then Jeff said his dad's 65. So I think a lot of folks, I'm not sure how old Jeff is, but I think a lot of folks around our age are starting to go through this, and then maybe, you know, somewhat unexpectedly. And then we get into, you brought up that about the inoculation and what are the potential effects there, and then the social problems, you know, and just the what's been wrought over the last several years, I mean, I think it's certainly impacting people's lifespans. So all of that like converging, right? And my view is that we've gone through a maximum spiritual attack over the last several years. That we've just been, we were attacked very forcefully, and coming off of that into dealing with all these other issues. I think it's a time of great upheaval for sure. So, and a lot of that I think is going on, within us. And well, and then somebody, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'll say, my stepdad, he's getting up there in age too. He's about like 62. And I lost my grandmother, I think 2019, just before all of this craziness kicked off. And and for me, it was one of those things where I saw the degradation of the medical, of her from the medical system. And in such a short amount of time, I remember I was looking at my prom picture, my senior prom picture, and I was looking at my mom, and then just in the span of 10 years, the degradation was insane, and I didn't really see it in real time. I just saw it in from the picture, and then once I saw that, it kind of helped me detach myself a bit and prepare myself for the inevitable, right? And I remember I was telling a lot of my family during the funeral service, it's not really a time of mourning. It should be more of a celebration, especially in my grandmother's case, because her being on this plane of existence was more of a suffering and a hindrance for her being here than going. It's better off that way. She was here suffering. I think if you just look at it like that and just practice detachment, it helps with a lot of these things that we go through.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Rob. And I would also, the detachment is a thing, but it's funny because it's also that detachment, I believe, enables us to feel whatever it is in the moment and then experience it, but then let it, go away from us, versus it seems like when we resist it and try to fight it, that actually causes us to trap those, whatever those feelings are, if we're not dealing with those emotions. This is what I've learned about myself. And that actually tends to be detrimental to us in the long run, versus it's almost like that detachment enables us to actually experience it as it's here and then just sort of let it go. So that's how I dealt with the stuff with my mom. I just experienced it in the moment and just resolved it and was like, accepted it. It's like, okay, this is what it is, versus, well, I don't want my mom to be sick. I don't want it. Well, but that's not what's happening. It's not about what do I want. It's really about her and what she's going through. So same thing when Jeff was here. It's not really about, well, maybe I need to go take a piss, or maybe I would rather be doing something else. It's about, what is he going through? That's I think the disconnect for humans a lot of times is, as we see society becoming more and more narcissistic, I think where instead of being there for one another in the moment, it ends up being, well, what do I need to get out of this? Or, hey man, I'd really rather be doing this other thing. Or I could get over myself and be like, okay, well, this is another human being who needs to talk to somebody. And so can I detach from my own, whatever the fuck I've got going on,
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Great point.
Yeah, because, I mean, we're all selfish in that way. Or maybe I'm doing a broadcast and I'm thinking, well, I can't even really understand half of what he's saying because he's fucked up. And then, or I could have just kicked him out of here when he first got here, been like, hey man, you're obviously fucked up. But then, not that I don't get any credit for this, but I'm saying, as people, when we just are willing to sort of allow that space for somebody else to express whatever they need to express, but in a non-judgmental way, right? It's not for me, because Lord knows I've got plenty of opinions. I could have just said all kind of crazy shit. And he sort of was trying to get into it with me a little bit initially, right? He kind of was, but I was just, like, I didn't care. I don't care that he's trying to get into it with me. But then we kind of got down to the heart of the matter, which I think is what's important. Because not
I didn't really
everybody.
see the initial reaction or the initial contact. I didn't see that part.
Yeah. Come on back, Jeff. We didn't kick you off, by the way. You dropped off. Yeah, you dropped off, sir. But yeah, come on back. But that's how I get. I get just talk and get it off my chest. But not everybody has that outlet. So it's good to have somebody. And increasingly, who do we have that will listen to us? And I'm not even talking about me. I just mean in general. Nobody will listen. They're all busy out in the world doing their thing. It's like, oh, maybe I have something I need to tell somebody, but they're not present in the moment because they're on TikTok or they're trying to get down the road to do what they got to do. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, we're losing our humanity in certain ways, but I don't think it's for me to resolve any of that. I think it's again, part of that. It's for me to accept it. Unfortunately, I don't want to. But go ahead, please, Rob.
Yeah, and he sort of alluded to that a little bit, where it's like he said, I was looking for a live stream. He was looking. He's scouring the YouTube streets for a live stream. So it's nice that you're on, and he was able to get some of this out. Because I feel maybe he wouldn't want to go too in depth with it on Paul's channel.
Yeah,
that's what I'm feeling. I that's my perception. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. If this is an environment where people can express those things, I'm happy to do it. Again, I don't feel any ownership over whatever this is, the channel or the live. I don't feel like it's my thing that I'm doing. So, I think it's for everybody to sort of get what they need to get out of it and contribute where they can contribute. That's how I view it. I am kind of hippy dippy, new agey in that way. I mean, but I am. Yeah, it's fine. So, but I also don't think it's any great thing. Like I'm doing some. I'm not trying to lead anybody or have some kind of movement. And in fact, I've spoken in depth about the concept of a movement in general. I've spoke about those things in very specific terms, and but I'm still here, man. Like I tried to take myself out. I'm still here. I have a strong will. I did, man, but I have a strong will to live, and I want to do what I can do while I'm here, right? And don't feel.
Yeah, I've definitely tried. I've definitely tried that a few times as well, trying to take myself out of here.
Well, and the drinking in general, like when he's talking about his dad, drinking a lot, like, what is that? That's obliteration. That's what that is. Somebody who consumes alcohol on a regular basis and becomes intoxicated, that is obliteration. It just everything is gone, and I experienced that myself through abusing alcohol. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I was never a daily drinker until I wasn't able to. I used to drink a 24 ounce and smoke half a blunt, and I was good to go. And then a few hours later, drink another 24 ounce and smoke the other half of the blunt. But then now I've chosen to live in a way where I'm not able to consume cannabis. So, and then with what's gone on in the last several years, and I knew what I was doing. I'm a big boy. I knew I was drinking myself to death. But I don't think it's a coincidence that that's when that happened. But that drinking, that's what that is. That's me obliterating all of these other things in my consciousness and just getting rid of it. What's up, Jeff? Welcome back, sir.
What's up, man?
I didn't know if you left or dropped off, so we're glad you're back. Or I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad as well.
Awesome.
Just listen.
Right on. Yeah, it's the thing is, the heavier the subject gets, the less I have to say, I've noticed. Like, I do this thing where I will not say all this cliche bullshit because everybody else is going to tell you, oh, it's going to be fine, or just all this fucking nonsense. And I can't say that because it may not be fine, man. I don't have no way of knowing if it's going to be fine or not. And that's the last thing I want to hear when something serious happens is a bunch of platitudes from all these people, which is, dude, I already know that's what you're going to get from a lot of people. So I'm not going to participate in that. So I'm not going to have a lot to say on the topic. That's just how that works.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that. Actually, the straight,
man.
honestly, I'm not looking for sympathy or anything. I just everyone's brilliant
Exactly.
style. You know what I'm saying? Like the people I follow and care about are helping me with my own journey. So you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like I'm not a victim shaming wham wham. I wasn't raised that way. Like everything that I do I earn. Um so I don't need sympathy. I it was me kind of like it's weird this metaverse.
Yes.
Just to me I mean honestly to find a Rob Cleveland just to see his fucking smiling face tonight.
Yeah.
No, dude, it kind of means a lot. Like
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I mean like whether you would call it a community or not, like I sought out Jeffrey. Like I'm wondering like Jeffrey Phillips and Allie, like and that Brian O'Shea thing is like a whole
Yes.
that was a whole drama thing. Like
Yeah.
to see how I think Brian fell in love with Allie, this and that. But I mean like we're like we're following like this crazy like little
It's like a
community.
soap opera. It's like a soap opera at a certain point.
Yeah, dude, and I'm wondering like why is it that we need this as people? Because
Yeah.
I feel like we can't get enough of it. Like the drama is crazy, and it's like, did Brian fuck Allie?
Yeah.
Did Jeffrey like let it happen? Is he a beta male cuck? Like, and then Polly's like like the counselor, the whole thing. It's like we watched it all unveil online for
And Paul called it like to the T.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. How is this not like must see TV? Like what
Yeah.
the fuck?
And this is real life. It's real life.
Yeah.
It's
It is.
real
Yeah.
life with the metaverse, and it's like that was the metaverse coming into real life. Like Rob meeting my sister.
Yeah. There you
Hey,
go.
I'm down for it. Where you at, like East Texas?
Yeah, he's sexist.
Oh wow. I don't know how I got that right.
So we got our boy Benton. He was
Yes,
on the
sir.
street forever, and now he's rolling the streets. On the
Well,
semis.
yeah. That's true. Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
And
King
then,
of the road.
and dude, honestly, like you have a very based outlook on life.
Well, thanks.
I've only been, following you for a couple times, but everything that you say is very based and appropriate. I mean,
Well, thanks.
who says that what I say is appropriate? I mean,
Well, yeah. Thank you.
you know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
think you're very level headed and you're nice. You seem like a very good dude. So
Well,
who am I
I
to
am a
say?
yeah. Well, I am a fucking asshole, just for the record. In case I don't like to sneak up on people with my assholishness, but thank you. I have intentionally attempted to become a good person through my actions. So if that shows, then I will take that as a compliment.
I like the truth reverberates. Is that a word? Reverberate through you. So
Yeah, man.
You looking for reverberate or reprobate?
thank
Yeah,
you.
I heard
There you go.
I heard
God damn, you gotta get
I
my
heard
back, bro.
reverberate. Yeah, reverberate. Yeah. Well, I see it as a reflection of just how dysfunctional societies become in general. That these really is our only outlet for actual human interaction. It seems like.
So I was gonna bring this up on the other podcast, but I was reading this book called Iron John, and it basically explains how we have the pillow talk from our mothers as children, but in the old tribes, like we would have the wild man come and take the man out. So you have some form of a man bringing the older man, taking them away from their mother. So I know Paul was like, you got the spirit over your mama. You got the spirit over your mama. So a lot of people in this life, like that doesn't happen. So they were saying like these old tribes, they would bring the elder men, would take them away to challenge them to be a man and have them basically drink the blood of something else to prove their manhood, meaning that they wouldn't need the nurturing of their mother, and that you have to survive as a man. I'm not explaining it the best way. I'm paraphrasing it from this book that I'm reading right now, but it was like it made so much. There was so much synchronicity with what society is doing right now. Is that basically you have a bunch of bitches that
Absolutely.
basically their mamas pillow talk them, and you're not allowed to in this kind of society, you're not allowed to be tested as a man. So I used to joke around saying, "Oh, I'm a mama's boy," and I thought it was so cute.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now as like, dude, I was a bitch. Like, I was fucking baby fed, and every time I'm sick, and every time like I flounder. I realize like I'm so weak in so many aspects, and then my internal masculine, the real inhibitions of me as a man wouldn't need that shit. So
Well, yeah, it also plays like there's this, where men in this Western society, we're never really told there's a time where you need to stop playing with toys. There's no time where we're really told to grow up, put away your childish things. But some cultures do have that. You got that with the Jays, with the whole bat mitzvah thing. Different cultures have their little traditions of when you're coming into your young adulthood, and then being told basically this is the time to put away your childish things. We don't have that in generally in the Western society. I yield.
Oh, you yield, yes.
Well, and real quick, what you're describing from the book, that's rites of passage, and I've asserted that we no longer have those. But since I grew up in a time warp in Southeast Arkansas, and I was born in 1975, we still had that when I was a child. So I was socialized in such a way to actually pass through some sort of experience right about the same time all the other young men pass through specific formalized, endeavors to pass from boyhood into manhood. And in fact, we would not be accepted in the society as men if we didn't. We were more or less forced into it because a boy won't necessarily transform into that without being forced. And I think that's what you're describing. And what I notice in the younger generations is if they didn't go through that, I don't see them as a man, because manhood is a status that's attained. And, we can do things to be viewed as less of a man. So and it's not for me to tell them that they're not men, but I don't perceive them as men a lot of times. Like, they're just not a man. So when I interact with them, it's I'm an adult, but they're not, right? Not at the level of manhood. And they can't intervene with me on a man level, but another man can. If another man catches me slipping, they can intervene. I might be in the wrong, but these little boys can't do nothing about it. I've just looked at them before and said, well, what are you going to do about it? Meaning, like, you don't have no strength of character. So I win based on they can't come at me on a man level, if that makes sense. But it's not for me to preach to them and transform them. It's that I see they were done a great disservice because the way they were socialized neglected them. But then at the same time, the society is now promoting to the young women to be very masculine and aggressive and assertive, while at the same time it's more or less sending messages to the young men that if they're aggressive and assertive, then that's somehow oppressive because of sexism and intersectionality and all of these concepts. But meanwhile, I have two younger sisters who are both very strong characters, and they're aggressive and dominant, and has nothing to do with the composition of their genitals, right? So it's very bad, man, what's being done, in my view. It's very harmful. Very harmful.
I mean, so me personally, what happened to me, obviously, let's just get it out there.
Go for it.
Really good look. Just kidding. So, like, what is that?
It's about rites of passage. Yeah.
Okay, so
marking the end of one phase. That? Well, it's mainly saying where the term comes from, but from a French anthropologist, Arnold somebody, and he lived until 1957. But yeah, 1909. I guess it's a book from 1909. I'm assuming. But yeah, marking the end of one phase and the start of another in an individual life, which is what, again, that used to be done. It used to be built into the socialization process. And I just happened to be born at a time in a place where that was still happening. But I can detect it's no longer a thing. It's not. And women don't necessarily go through this, by the way. In a lot of ways, this is specifically male, right? But yeah, it's something to that, man, I think. But yeah, anyway. But Glenn is correctly deducing that maybe this is your rite of passage. And shout out to Glenn that this situation could function as a rite of passage for you, leaving one phase and moving into a new phase. So yeah, very astute, Glenn. Shout out to Glenn. Glenn's been around since the early days of the channel. So
yeah, I think I had that when I was 17. That rite of passage, in my own little dysfunctional way, I guess.
Yeah.
When you say rite of passage, what's that mean?
Well, specifically, the end of one phase and the start of another in an individual's life. But I don't know I can't speak to your specific situation. I'm speaking generally. I'm only speaking in generalities. It's up to you whether or not it's applicable or not.
Yeah, so for my little rite of passage where I kind of transformed myself into a a different being. And, it's kind of an embarrassing story, but I'll make it short and sweet. There was this woman that I was messing around with. Um, I got my first kiss from her, 16, and we were talking, we were dating for a little bit, yada yada yada. Fast forward a year and a half to like going to prom night, and I invited her to come with me to prom, and she told me that she couldn't go because she was a foreign exchange student, and there was like some thing that prevented her from going. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Go to the prom by myself. Fast forward, prom's over. I'm at the after party, and she tells me that she had like lost her virginity to some dude that I was going into class with, and we had made a promise to each other to do that with one another. And that was sort of the start of my unraveling as a little boy and turning into the sort of man that I am today. I still have a lot of work to do, but I recognize that.
Shit, Rob. And they didn't see how good looking you were in the beginning. Hey, Rob.
What was that?
That's it. And they didn't see how good looking you were from the beginning.
I wasn't always this good looking. I had a glow up.
Hey, Rob.
Yo.
Rob is it, dude. Rob is it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm far from it, but I try to attain it. It's an everyday journey. I learn I'm a student of life, as they say.
There you go.
Well,
Yes,
well,
sir.
dude, just by looking, they say a picture paints 1,000 words, but like, I mean, that's a good picture. Rob paints the best picture, dude. I mean, honestly, dude, you could see through your, like, whether it's through what I'm saying from another broadcast or whatever, like, you can just tell Rob's a dude. Rob's just he's solid, dude. That's it. That's all I have to
There
say.
you go.
That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say
Thank
about
you.
Rob.
Thank you.
You can see it in the smile on his face. So, and Benton, and thank you for letting me be on, dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. And
And I would like.
not. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, some people said, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say you're not so bad yourself, there, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.
Indeed.
I have my own issues. I come up as I've always been a master of personas or whatever. Like, I'm the jokester, I'm the funny guy. I don't like confrontation, and so the thing that brings the toughest part of me ever, and that's why I'm slowly, not to make this about Polly, but I'm thinking
That's okay. Go for it.
but like I've been following that dude since the beginning, and I think a lot of people are scared to show themselves because they're so scared of being broken down to who and what they are. And I realized just watching how many times I got triggered and got pissed off and wanted to say something and then realized that's fucking me. That's me, dude. Every time I get triggered, It's a me problem. Everyone needs to look at that.
Absolutely, yeah.
When you get triggered, when someone says something shitty, and you get fucking pissed off and triggered, that's a you problem. That's a me problem. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not a poly problem. Like poly brings it out in people. That motherfucker knows what he's doing. Because he is there. Dude, I will say this. I'm weak now, but I won't be.
There you go. That's the spirit.
I'm feeling weak now. That's why I show myself in personas as a joke to Polly. Because I get it. I get what he's doing. And I get what he's doing.
You get the show.
I get the show. But at the same time, Rob, I got a lot of me problems, man. And so maybe partially I'm totally a little scared and naive to go up there to get beat down about it. You know what I mean? Like, but that's a me thing. It's not a Poly thing. If I'm scared to go on Poly's panel to be myself, that's a me problem. It's not a Poly problem. Poly just fucking, he lays it out. I love that motherfucker.
Yeah, but the thing is, I kind of figured that a little bit. I made that point to Benton just shortly before you came back up. But the thing with Paul, and not to go on too much about it, there he goes again. Not to go on too much about it, but he goes at different people in different ways. As he says, you comfort the afflicted and conflict however that phrase goes. I forget exactly how it goes, but he'll come to some folks with a soft feminine spirit, and then others it's more demonstrative, more abrasive, more rude, crude, and lewd. But it's usually dependent on how the person on the other side is receiving Paul. It's how he goes about him, at least from what I've noticed.
Well, and that's a particular form of intelligence, I would say. See, I don't have that. I don't. Whatever that is, I don't have that. I'm not smart enough to do that. So, but yeah, he definitely seems to be very intelligent in those ways to be able to do that. And I guess we lost Jeff again. I had to drop off for a second, but I was listening. But maybe he'll be back. I don't know. Hard to say.
Yeah, because I know for me, like how I come, he doesn't go hard at me. He may do a little bit just because that's probably what I need. But for the most part, it's more of a soft, gentle, feminine aspect that he approaches with me. So it's just different with different folks.
Yeah, that makes sense, and there's something to that, obviously. And I enjoy watching the live stream sometimes, but whatever's going on with O'Shea and Jeff and all that's it's too weird. It's just too weird for me, but I can see how it's interesting, for sure.
Shit is weird. It's weird, and what Jeff was saying, how I think mainly like the crowd is the general crowd is more like did Brian fuck, or there's those people, of course, but I'm more on the side like this is all just fucking weird.
Yeah,
and I feel none of this would have went this way if Jeffrey from the very beginning had asserted himself to the other panelists, saying, "Hey, just doing whatever he felt he needed to do to kind of keep them at bay, so to speak." And I yield.
Well, and you never know what's Jeff? What's not Jeff that's here, but the other Jeff? What's his motivation? Maybe he's practicing some sort of like having a woman that he's not possessive of. I mean, you just never know what's he trying to do.
Yeah, that could be it too. Yeah.
Or part of it, and it culturally, I think he's in LA. Culturally, there's something to that LA culture of like not being possessive, especially in the modern age. You know, like the man being possessive of the woman can be. That's kind of a whole thing. Versus my culture, that's just a given. Well, that's my woman. Of course, I police. You know, I'm not going to allow people around her and all this stuff. So.
Yeah, that's sort of how I am too. I'm in that same regard.
Yeah,
Well, I
hey,
was so.
Rob,
Go ahead, man.
gonna. Yeah, dude. Like, how crazy was that dynamic, Rob? Dude, like seriously, like what? Like the way O'Shea comes off. If that's your girl, are you gonna let him come into your house? Like, Jeffrey had to have some balls, bro, to even let that happen, right? Or there's some fucking sadomas, like there's something weird going on. Like, either they want it. Come on, man.
I
I
don't
mean,
know, man. It's
what do
fucking
you think,
weird.
Rob? What do you think, Rob? Like, if I had my girl, if I had a girl, like, picture this: if you were with my sister, just hypothetically, if you're with my sister, that's your girl, and then some random dude. I mean, O'Shea is like very like violently like, dude. He should no, he should, dude. The way he speaks is so abrasive. It's like if you're gonna let him in your house, you know what's gonna happen. He's gonna wreck your pussy. Come on, can we not all agree on that? What do you
No,
think, Rob?
I mean from what I saw with how O'Shea was there, like the very first night. I mean, like I said, Paul called it to a T. You know, he was over there. He had his head down. It was quiet. They ate, and you know, that was pretty much it.
Okay,
He's
so 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 O'Shea said on a separate thing. Like, did him and Allie bone down? They did. Yes. Would you agree that they boned down?
I think he said that they spooned or something. Maybe I think that's I don't know. I'm not
Dude,
making any claims because I don't
I,
know.
I don't want to make any claims either, but they kind of made some claims. Like O'Shea, O'Shea fell in love with the pussy because they went off on their own side thing. Come on, dude. We all knew what they did. I don't want to make any claims, but from all the audience's claims, like, did we not all think that Brian banged Allie or Annie? What do you think?
I personally don't think he did. I don't think anything serious happened. I think maybe there was just like some cuddling going on, maybe. But I don't
I
think
heard
anything really happened.
I heard him on a different stream saying that he hadn't had anything in a long minute. And I think that's why he's fucking puppy love. Am I wrong? I mean, I guess
I don't
it's.
think so.
I don't want to make any claims. I don't want to make claims. I don't want to make any claims. But Rob, if you were in O'Shea's, if you were,
No, I wouldn't have let the shit get this far. I would have shut all
yeah,
this shit down from the very beginning,
yes,
from when he
thank you.
made that outrageous comment, or from when Z was doing his thing with Allie, Annie. I would have shut all that shit down quick, and it wouldn't have extended past that initial thing that happened. It would have just been done after that.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Benton.
Sorry, I'm eating. I took the opportunity to eat real quick, but yeah.
No, that's all good.
I just
And yeah,
assumed
when I
he,
step away, I'm still listening. I just usually when I step out, I have to wave at a vehicle that's coming in.
oh, right on.
But
I'll go back to
dude, you're fucking right though. Rob,
Say that again.
you're my spirit animal.
I bet you'll
Thank you,
I bet
Officer Murphy.
I bet you'll never guess my spirit animal.
A raccoon.
It's a monkey.
Do you remember that cartoon Daria by the guy who did Beavis and Butthead? Anybody ever
Yeah, I
seen
remember that show.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
used to watch that a lot. When I was younger.
Daria is my spirit animal. I relate to Daria very strongly.
I'm sorry. I'm probably
fuck.
I'm probably
It is what it
representing.
is.
I should have put on my De Laguna outfit. I'm sorry. I'm not representing my best Jeffrey. Like I said, I got some shitty news tonight, but that doesn't really mean shit.
Yeah, I'm still fascinated how all that shit played out. And I don't know what the fuck's going on in their house now. It's I don't know. Jeffrey said it's been better for him, but it seemed like for O'Shea and Allie, it just made things a lot more complicated, from my perspective. And I yield.
Well, at the end of the day, from having experience running game on females, he's still got to run game on her if he wants to get laid. I mean, it's always going to come down to that. So then it's just like, yeah, if he ran the right kind of game on her, I'm sure he hit it. But I haven't been keeping up with it.
Yeah, like the whole thing is, when I was finding myself, I didn't give a fuck about pussy at all. I mean,
I always had wives and girlfriends, but back in my day, we had to make it happen, though. The woman, they couldn't be viewed as a slut. That's how old I am. They couldn't be viewed as a slut.
Okay,
So I still had to make it happen.
Dude, so what happened to me was, if you don't mind me sharing,
Go for it.
Because why not? Because it's your channel.
Yeah.
Let's let it all out there. There was this. Okay, so I went through my awakening, but like it was just me, and I was building my property, doing all this other shit. I was just going to the gym, and then there was this hot ass girl. Ooh, ooh. It was so dirty. It was so dirty. I had to fucking snap a picture like a creeper. Dude, I fucking snapped. Dude, I snapped pictures of her in the sauna because she was wearing. Dude, she was wearing a thong. She knew it. She knew it. And then one day, me and her were in the sauna together. She was like, just started talking to me, and I was like, "What?" It's like, I just snapped like 3 booty pics of you. No, I didn't tell her that. But I was like, God damn, dude, this girl's fucking fine, dude. Just, oh. And she's like, let's talk about microdosing and then I'm fucking my friend. Like, oh. Like, I'll microdose too. Just, all of a sudden, we're hanging out, dude. And, dude, I thought everything in the world serendipitous, like, came to that moment with that fucking. It's kind of like one of these other podcasts they're like, just when you think you know what's in the bag, it's absolutely not. So like, I fell in love with this girl. I was infatuated with her. And it only took like 3 weeks. I was dead sober. We're on the same fucking wavelength as everything else, but she just wanted to get fucked. I talked to my other homie. He's like, "Oh, she's just kind of a hoe. She just wanted to get fucked." And I'm like, "Damn, I was in love with that girl." And I hadn't had sex with a girl in like over 2 years. And like I thought we had some kind of connection, and it just fucking. I felt like a little kid again. Like it reminds me of O'Shea. He had a connection with Allie. He thinks it's a synchronicity. He went all the way there. They hung out. I don't know what they did really. It sounds like they banged. I don't know if they did or not. It sounds like they banged on the secret and no one's telling anyone anything. I think they did. So they banged and O'Shea got really fucking like connected. And he's like, we have something. And so O'Shea's getting all fucking emotional because he's a fucking big teddy bear. And he is. He's a good dude. Big teddy bear. Jeffrey acts like it's no big deal, but really it hurts Jeffrey's heart. I mean, come on, dude.
How do you know that, though? How do you know it
I don't
hurts
know.
his heart?
You're right. This is a narrative that I'm playing out. What do you think, Rob Cleveland? Does that sound correct?
I don't know, man. I just want to say this real quick because you guys kind of alluded to it or said something about it for a second. You know, for me, it's never really about like the pussy. For me, it's about like the companionship. You know, just spending that time and space with each other, and you know, with that comes with the pussy comes with that. But that's not my first and foremost thing. It's more of a companionship thing. But the thing with O'Shea, I think you're hitting it. I think you're maybe hitting it on the head there. Because I guess there was something that they didn't want to bring up. You know, there was text messages or something, and something wasn't supposed to be brought up. I'm guessing it could be what Jeff alluded to. Maybe they did bang. But I mean, O'Shea's had this thing with Allie since the very beginning. I think his feelings just kept developing more and more and more and more. And then once they finally met, he fell in love. I think he was already in love before they met each other. But once it happened, it just kind of exploded. No pun intended.
I feel like it's like one of those old school Romeo and Juliet things. Like you're not supposed to do it, but it happened. Like I feel like Allie is like, or Annie is not one. And honestly, like Jeff's either the biggest, best sport. We're dealing with that shit because I wouldn't, motherfucker. I wouldn't. But then, dude, this is the psychology of it, Rob. Is if I didn't, am I not like a righteous man? You know what I mean? Like, am I not so confident? Like, yeah, come in and take. Like, I feel like Jeffrey was like saying, "Yeah, come in and try to take my girl. You ain't gonna take her." And I think that was actually pretty bold of Jeffrey. What do you think, Rob?
Well, go ahead, Rob.
Go ahead, Benton. I got a car.
I mean, the thing is, I think we're underestimating Jeffrey's and look, I have to I have this thing where I try not to get into gossip for me personally, but just based on observations of what I consider to be a show, I would think that I think we're underestimating his arrogance and narcissism, that he probably is so arrogant and narcissistic that he believes that, you can't just come in and take his woman without, O'Shea would have to like rise to the occasion. I think that's how Jeff would view it. and just assume that, well, it's almost like, may the best man win type of thing. Like if he's got that, if his game is that strong, if O'Shea can really come in there and do that, it's almost like fair play based on
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you have
Yeah.
someone arrogance and narcissism. That's the way
And
I
he sort of, yeah, and he sort of alluded to that. I mean, he said plenty of times, that he doesn't view Brian O'Shea as a threat.
exactly. He doesn't. That's exactly right. Yeah.
But it happened.
And but maybe he does subconsciously, because if you gotta
Well,
keep saying it, if he just keeps saying it, maybe he just keeps saying it so that he can believe it.
Or where'd they go?
well, seeing is
Where-
believing, right? Seeing is
where'd they
believing.
go? Where'd they go?
Like I say, I haven't kept up with it, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Probably went to O'Shea's cousin's house. That's probably where they went.
Dude.
So did he separate? Did he separate the woman from Jeff now, or what has happened? I'm not aware. Did he get her off by himself, or what happened? Oh,
Yeah,
That's-
those
That's-
two were
that's-
they hung out.
That's
Okay.
That's the
Well,
mystery.
now- Well, but now we're in a, if you love something, let it go and see if it comes back to you. I think that's where we're at now.
That's
Well,
Again, you cannot underestimate the arrogance and narcissism of someone who really believes that she'll experience something else and then still choose to come back to him in the end.
hey,
Like,
so
that is a thing, man. That is a thing.
okay, here, Ben, real quick.
Go ahead.
We're live right now.
Yes, sir.
Rob Cleveland's here.
Yes, indeed.
this is real, man.
Like,
Yeah, but maybe,
is
well,
this
real quick,
real?
maybe I've done similar things to what we're talking about, and maybe I was in the Jeffrey role potentially.
Yeah, I'm saying like right now we're speaking of other people that are not, but like,
Well, that's what I mean. I have to be careful because I do my best not to gossip. But the fact is, it is something that's billed as an entertainment show, so I'm choosing to interface with
yeah,
it
yeah,
in that
On a
context.
public platform.
I'm giving myself an out here. I'm absolving myself. But I will say, it's possible that I'm connecting some of this to my own personal experience and speaking from that as well. That's all I'm saying.
Well, dude, I mean, like tonight, not joking around. Like I was literally looking, because like I said, I was having my own personal shit. I was like, I normally just don't come up on Polly's shit. As sometimes I make a joke. Well, a lot of times I make a joke, and I can do a bunch of characters and shit. But yeah, I do have a bunch of my own personal issues to deal with. And listening to what's been going on for like the last year and a half through Polly's shit, like, and seeing the characters, like Rob's one of the characters. Rob Cleveland,
Hey, yeah, absolutely.
like beautiful.
I think I'm one of
smile.
the few that doesn't play a character.
Yeah, no, you just play like you're very cool, calm, collect. You only say something when it's meant to be said. I normally only come up ever making a joke or being silly or goofing around or some bullshit. But at the very end, like sometimes I do. I'm a real person, I'm going through my own shit, and the real reason that I'm hanging around is I probably need some fucking like I probably need some fucking mental beatdown. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna get it from anyone else because I've got a bunch of yes in my whole life. I've got a bunch of yes people. Jeffrey, you're okay. You've done everything okay. Blah blah. But like,
Well, do you feel that if you get the beat down that it'll be better, or do you feel like you want the feminine aspect of Paul? Because he could give you both. And I've seen him give you a lot of the feminine aspect to it. So I'm wondering if you want the other side.
I think I want it all. I think I just haven't. I think a lot of people get scared to go up on the panel because they're afraid of getting beaten down. But I think the reason they're afraid of getting beaten down is because they fucking know what's up. I know what's up. I know I got a lot of fucking beat down. Like I know there's a lot of I'm honestly, like, to tell you the truth, after listening to this shit for over a year and a half or however long it's been, I would love to know Paulie's fucking beatdown, or I would love to hear his objective opinion on what the fuck is wrong with me. To be honest, because no one else will give it to me. Everyone else is gonna placate. Everyone else is gonna fucking give me some good fucking cupcake bullshit. I'd rather hear it from Paulie, dude, because he's gonna fucking give it to you straight. That's why I love the motherfucker. And why haven't I been up there personally and given my whole fucking story? Because I know he's gonna fucking shred me down. And I know that's
See,
what I need.
I don't think he'll do that. I really don't think he'll do that. I think he'll
No,
come at
but
you as with that feminine care.
no, but I don't think he's gonna shred me down because I think he knows I'm authentic. There's a difference. There's people that come up there with the fighting aspect, Rob. I'm not like that. Like I'm literally the opposite. I'm like, hey, what the fuck is going on with me? Like, I think I have some shit going on. I don't even really know. The reason why I listen to Paulie is that I don't even know if I don't even know if I could do it. You know, like I feel bad because I'm not rolling with no plates. I'm not rolling with no registration. You know, like I feel like he's gonna be like, "Oh, you're fucking, you're, you know, like you're not walking it."
You're a good kept pet slave, as he would say. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm still, a withholding agent. I mean, it's. I think it's more if you're taking the steps to go into that aspect, he'll, you know, and he's even said he doesn't really get into what people do on the day to day life, because he doesn't know. So why would he even really focus or really care on that? It's more of just how you're gonna come up onto the panel. If you're being authentic, then he'll sense that, and
yeah,
he'll just go as it goes.
I agree with that.
I mean, Brian O'Shea's still doing that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I honestly like. I'm a little different. I'm a heart guy, so I'm like, I'd see a Rob Cleveland, I'd give him a fucking big hug. Like like in person, like I do feel like I make friends. I've always made a lot of friends everywhere I go. Like always have. Because I always want to service people before me. And so I feel like I've always helped
Well,
out.
that's part of the issue.
Maybe it's part of the issue. Yeah.
You have to be, secure secure with yourself enough to where you can, fill other people's cups.
Yeah. How do we do that, Rob?
How do we do that?
Yeah, how do we do
Good
it?
question. I don't know, man. It's for me. It's. Go ahead.
Because I don't judge you. I mean, I don't judge you because you're working for the man. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're doing. You're just doing what you have to do. You always joke around. You're like, I'm doing the slave life.
Oh
But
yeah, I mean, because it's
but
true to
but
some degree. You know, I like to have fun with the words, like plantation, slaving. You know,
yeah, I know. But I'm
it's
like,
funny.
but I know that your heart is like, I know that your heart is like, dude, you're fucking lying. Yeah, you just soak it all in. You're doing what you have to do, and you listen. Like, what do we do with all this information? What the fuck are we supposed to do? You gonna make her? You wanna? I'll introduce you to my sister. I'm serious. Dude, I'm serious, dude. Like a guy like you, dude. Honestly, dude, you're Rob Cleveland through the metaverse. You're a solid metaverse dude.
I'm just as solid in real life as I am on the metaverse. Like I said, what you see here with me is what you get.
That's
You know,
right.
I don't really
That's right.
play a character or anything. I don't really try to. I guess that's partly some of my issues. I don't really try to go too far out of my comfort zone unless I get a little bit of like courage juice in me and make a fool of myself like I did a few days ago on O'Shea's stream. But shit happens.
What? That girl pissed you off or what?
No, it's no, man. I'm no, it's nothing like that. It's like we ended on like good terms. Is she just has to go find herself, go do her own thing. She was jumping from one relationship to another. She was in one relationship for 8 or 9 years. She had one child with that guy. She went into another relationship for about 8 or 9 years, had two children with that bozo, that goofball. And then she came in and we came into my life, and after about a year of me kind of grinding on her ego and trying to lead her back to herself, it just came to a point where it's like, yeah, I gotta go find myself and be my best self. And as they say, if you love something, let it go, and if it comes back, then it's meant to be. But
Yeah.
that's
So,
that's all that it really is.
dude, I mean, tonight my dad's just so stubborn, right? Um, and so my niece called me, and yeah, she just yeah, it's just like sorry. Um, yeah,
No, go
so
ahead, man. Take your time.
my niece doesn't quite get it, but like she's so sweet. Anyways, I don't really was getting out with that, but like, yeah, we'll figure out what's going on with my dad tomorrow. But my niece is there. She's like really cute and sweet. She just really doesn't know what's going on. But I think everything's gonna be okay. I think I'm just kind of coping with it all tonight. So thanks for being outlet.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
know. I was like, I was looking like for all my channels, all my friends, my internet friends. I mean, I called my I call my like personal people, but like I do have my internet fam that I do kind of feel like I'm in some weird ass way kind of close with. Like I feel like I know Rob, even though I don't really know Rob. And I'm getting to know you, Benton, just because of your just it's a consistent It's consistent, solid. Like it's very unwavering. Like it's a nice energy. So
Thanks, man.
yeah. So and thank you for letting me, to express my.
Yeah, thanks for participating. I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, I didn't mean to take it for your stream or whatever, but I do appreciate
Not our stream, sir. It's not my stream.
Our stream.
That's right. I really believe that. I don't feel any ownership of whatever this is.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I kind of feel like this is like a connection, like with Rob, wherever Rob, like Rob's like this weird catalyst. There's no one that doesn't love Rob, but there's something about Cleveland. Just follow the Cleveland star. No, I mean,
I just had a lot of time to myself, and I've had a lot of people to look at around me to know what not to do. And that's pretty much how I've learned, just by observing, being silent and observing.
Yeah, like you only speak when you have something to say. Like, no, I agree with that.
And I kind of take on that philosophy. I've heard it a lot when I was a child. Speak when you're spoken to, kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't really throw myself out too much in places where I feel I don't really need to contribute, especially on like Paul's show. There's really not much I could add there. I don't have much to contribute there. I just listen because he hits just about every nail on the head. And it's like I can't follow up the insane rant and rambles that he has, as he calls them.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, the dude kind of nails it all. Like, so Rob, before all this, like, I probably wouldn't even be on the internet. Like, I was so on. Not to get past my imagination. But I will. I'll go back to my imagination. And I did. I kicked so much ass for like 2 years. Sober. I probably wouldn't even pay attention to anything on the internet. And then this last year, I've been kind of broken and fucking trying to figure shit out, dude. And I've been, what's the world bring me to? Poly, all this drama. But like everything that I hear, I think I need to hear to transcend me to the next level, right? So
yeah, they're definitely not going to get that with like normal everyday interactions with the general population.
Yeah, so it's like even though I'm not doing a whole lot of shit in my life, like I'm literally listening and learning. But it's not even, dude, like what people don't get, it's not just about legal lawful shit. It's like this is about social dynamics. This is about like conversing and having discourse. And this, what we've learned is that screaming and yelling at each other is on a panel of a whole bunch of different fucking people that have different fucking outlooks in life. This is what it looks like. And this is good. People look at it as like it's shitty. Like, oh, this is fucking like, this is chaotic monkey fucking jargon bullshit. No. People have to realize like this is how we do it. We're gonna fucking yell. We're gonna scream. We're gonna disagree, and not to just laugh about this, but no hug a buddy, fuck a buddy, like Snafu said. No, dude. I mean, like, He's right,
Yeah.
dude. We don't
Yeah.
we don't need this like Ben, I don't need to love you, dude. You've been through some shit, dude. And you're gonna disagree with me about a lot of shit.
Well,
But
real quick, what you're speaking on is I have to be very strict and disciplined with myself, and then that ends up it
yeah.
goes out into my interactions with people. Like that's me being I'm very I'm very tough on myself, and that ends up going into all my other interactions on some level. If that makes sense.
Dude, so your inner space is you, dude. That's the whole point. That's the whole
absolutely.
point. Is that you have conquered your inner space to where
Well, I am doing it. I haven't not completely, but I'm a long ways down the road. Yes,
but
and I will get there if I live long enough. I will. Yes.
But there's nothing that I can say or Rob Cleveland could say to you that would hit your fucking. You're infallible to our thought. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, but I'm not though. No, I'm not, dude. I'm on here yelling at people sometimes. Yeah,
He stays triggered. He said it.
I'm triggered. Yeah, exactly, Rob. No, I'm literally triggered all the time. That's I'm never not triggered.
Okay, but saying like, you're so good with your inner space though that you won't fucking let
that's not true. Dude, I let them trigger me sometimes. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. It's less and less as time goes on, but it still happens.
But
I lose my shit. I lose my shit sometimes, man. Absolutely. 100%.
I just lost my shit a few days ago on Brian O'Shea. I mean, I was yelling. Yelling at Brian O'Shea.
Yeah. Even the dollar.
Rob, you were yelling at somebody.
Brian O'Shea during the whole fucking that melted brick bullshit he was talking about, and he started talking shit about Karen B, and then that's when I lost it.
Oh, I miss that. Would you go off on one?
Him just basically being an asshole and talking shit about Karen B because she's not into the whole all mountains are melted bricks. And he just started calling her like money hungry, you know, the whole narrative that whole community pushes, you know, she's a witch, does this Flattoberfest event for money, you know, all of these different false narratives. And I lost it because I met Brian O'Shea at Flattoberfest at Karen's event.
You met him in person?
Yeah, I've met Brian O'Shea, and that, you know, that Flattoberfest event brought all of those different people together, all of those mud flood people, and you know we all had fun there, and you know there's videos of them smiling, having fun, all these pictures, yada yada yada. And he said he didn't have fun. He said that it's a waste of time. You know, he's just making all of these bad faith claims because he feels some type of way about her, feeling some type of way about the melted brick buildings. And I started yelling at him about that because he doesn't do shit for the community. He does, and Karen does a lot for the community, and that's where I got off at. And I yield.
All right. I was gonna have him maybe come to my place. I really do have I have a farm and I have a lot of shit to be done. I'm putting it off. And I thought like that would be kind of like cool. You know, I felt like I know Brian O'Shea and I was like, oh, just come on. You can come have some work here. I don't think it'd be that crazy until.
Nah, he's not. He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah, I feel like he's okay, but I just cannot believe this fucking Annie and Jeffrey thing. Like, I mean, like, this is insane. Like, it's fucking insane. Like, what would you expect? Like, what do you expect?
I don't know. It's like Jeffrey said that Brian was real cool, and then something happened, and then that's when Brian O'Shea got upset. I guess something happened between the
Dude.
2 hours that he was away from Jeffrey.
Dude.
Something happened, I guess.
Dude. What do we think happened, Rob?
I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think
I
happened?
didn't. Well, but
What do you-
Brian O'Shea kind of
No,
he
okay,
kind of
okay.
alluded to it.
So
He said that
Brian-
Allie was gonna come
so-
over, and she didn't. I guess.
Brian was so upset with Allie that they probably had already done something, right? I don't want to speculate, but I'm going to speculate. Like all of us in this drama, right? No, I don't want to do it because this is going to get restreamed. No, I'm just going to let it go. I don't want to speculate. But Brian was very, 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 very fucking enthroned.
50-year-old simp.
He's talking about O'Shea.
Oh.
O'Shea's the 50-year-old comedian that lives in his car. Not that there's anything wrong
Get
with
chalked
it.
up. Is that Drew? Is that Drew, the $20 hoe?
Yeah, that's true. Shout out to Chalk Body Outline. But yeah, man, even the Dalai Lama says he gets angry on occasion, dude. I rage quit the old Chalk Body Outline Discord like at least 3 or 4 different times. I'm king of the fucking spiral, man. Yeah.
But
I'm
don't
getting-
take that too seriously, Drew. I'm just fucking with you.
Better.
Sorry, Ben.
Oh no, he loves it. Drew loves it. But yeah, I'm not a model of being able to keep my cool. That's for sure.
Most times I am, but I guess I just felt some type of way about Karen B and that whole ordeal, and I got worked up. I got tricked out of my position.
Mm, there you go.
You got tricked out. Oh, Rob.
Cause I was sitting there letting them go at me for a few minutes. You know, I was like, "It's okay, man. I'll be your punching bag if you want to go off or whatever." And then something happened, man. I got triggered and I fucking let loose.
Yeah,
I
man,
yield.
you're getting a little you're losing your cool a little bit over the flat Earth thing when Tommy was here. But you kept it together, but it was getting close. I noticed.
Yeah, and I think with that, I get a little bit triggered with that because that's something that's helped me. You know, it's helped me on my journey, my journey of awareness, becoming aware of what's really going on.
So what's the consensus here?
What we talking about?
On the
It's not a ball. It's not a ball. If that's what we're talking about.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I don't know about the flat thing either. It's definitely not a ball. But I'm not going to argue with Tommy about it. It's like pointless. If that's what he thinks, I don't care. Make whatever you want.
Yeah, I've figured that a few minutes into it, and so I'm like, okay.
Hey, so
And then I kept getting sucked back in.
Hey,
Yeah, I know.
Rob, like, and Benton, real quick.
Yeah.
Is it kind of weird that, like, it makes me think that we're, like, in this weird NPC, like, universe? Like, why does all these creatures look like Voldemort? Like, Boshane, Illumitami. Like, they all look the same, dude. They all look like these weird bald-headed, like, not you, Ben.
I'm trying not to be.
No,
Art imitates life, I guess, right?
I still got a little bit of my vitality left. Hopefully, I definitely I'm degraded like I think Rob was talking about noticing people degrading very quickly. Go to Talcott's channel. He's got videos from like 3 years ago. He looks like a totally different person. And man, when I was like 40, even like 42, dude, I still looked like young and vital, man. And it just, at a certain point, it went fucking south with me. Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of people.
Well, at least you have reason.
Well, but I mean, I kind of, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't need an excuse, but I was, I had lifted weights and I was a big, strong guy for my size. And, some women thought I was handsome or whatever. And now it's just, I look in the mirror and it's just like, is that even me? Like, good Lord. But I kind of
You got a hard out in 15 minutes, right?
Thank you. Yes. But I'll keep the stream going if y'all want to keep talking. But I just won't be here for about at least 30 minutes. I got to go over and check in on the shipper.
I want to try to bring my sister.
Rather.
I want to try to bring my sister.
Oh yeah.
Everybody wants to. I want to bring my sister on.
Yeah, everybody wants Rob as the brother-in-law.
Yeah, dude. I wish I was that lucky, dude. Dude,
yeah.
If Rob Cleveland was my brother-in-law, damn, dude.
Well, hey, I mean, what's to say that it couldn't happen?
That's right. See,
Drew loves the matchmaking, so maybe he'll get in on that.
All right, how do I do this? How do I include my sister?
Give her the link. All she got to do is go to YouTube and click on the link.
All right, I call her.
Get her in here within the next 15 minutes if you can, because I won't be around starting in 15 minutes. I found I can't.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying I've discovered I can't like go and check in at the shippers and all that while I'm on the stream. It's too distracting. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't around for Flat Earth in the 2015, 2016 days. I came around to it like late 2019, actually. But I missed a lot of that. I hear people talk about those days so much. Like, it's the good old days. You search YouTube and all the Flat Earth stuff would just pop right up, and it's not that way now. Obviously, we see.
So I just need to get her on YouTube, right?
Yeah, if she can make it to this video, all she's got to do is click on that link, or you could just text her the link potentially. It's pinned at the top of the chat.
All right, let's see. I'm not so fucking shabby, nebby.
Yeah, I hear you.
Your sister's up right now?
What?
So she's up right now?
Well, she's probably. Yeah, it's like 3:15 where you're at, right?
Oh,
or no,
yeah. I'm not. I don't know what.
Oh, she's in Texas. It's already 7 a.m.
Oh shit!
Or 5 a.m. It's 5 a.m. in Texas.
Is it 3? Holy shit!
You're on Western. You're on Pacific time, right? Well, I know the time zones from the truck driving, so yeah, I can do the conversion pretty easily. So if Jeff's on Pacific, it's 3:17. If his sister is on Central, then that's 7, or no, 5:17 rather. 5:17. Yeah. I'm on Eastern.
You're on it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Your sister doesn't live in Texas?
I have to know that shit.
Yeah.
I thought he said East Texas. Yeah, she's on Central. So
okay.
It's 5:17 where she's at.
I'm just gonna call her real quick, like, nah.
Drunk dialing the sister. you know, I gotta call it like I said on that one.
Oh, dude, I told you. I mean, I'm drunk. Yeah.
Holy shit!
My dad's in the ER, dude. I'm fucking drunk.
I know, man. Maybe don't call her right now, though. I'm just saying. I'll go live. I'll be live when she's awake. Right. I'm assuming she's asleep.
Yeah. Right.
You're fucking foolish for that, Ben. That shit was so funny.
Well, let it go.
Well, I'm not trying to be cruel, but yeah. Anyway.
No, you called it like you saw it. No big deal.
Yeah.
Not to be rude, crude, and lewd, right?
That's right.
That shit was so funny.
I'm working. I was on 4 days sober until tonight. Yeah.
Oh, I've been there doing that, brother. I know how that shit goes.
So, well, I thank you for your time, man.
No, thanks for stopping by. Yeah. I'll probably wrap it up here in about 10 minutes because, like I said, I got to go deliver this load. So, yeah.
Drunk guy and his sister deliver this load. I see
Uh-oh.
you. But all right, I'm gonna get the hell up out of here.
All
I
right.
appreciate you having me out, Benton.
All right. Peace out, you guys. Good
Hey,
talk.
Later,
Thanks.
Jeff.
dude. Thanks, Ben. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
See y'all
love you
next
guys.
time.
All right. Peace.
Well, I guess we'll shut her down, so I'll bid the audience adieu as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.